to ARK, a game where you tame cute creatures and use them to fight your enemies. Kinda like Pokemon, but with dinosaurs. I attempted a challenge to complete the game within 100 days. My goals are: tame every creature using a taming pyramid I created, conquer every cave, beat Broodmother, Megapithecus, and Dragon, and then fight my way through the caverns of lava and ice to crown myself victor against the Overseer and ascend. Strap in, paw the like button, and let's get into this, kittens. Fully expecting to spawn in and being eaten alive, the place where I awaken is quite peaceful. Almost too peaceful. This allows me to craft basic tools and weapons. This game is a survival game. Emphasis on survival. As you'll soon find out, I'm not good at that part. You can track my failures by watching this death counter. Comment down below how many deaths you think I will have by the end of my playthrough. With dodos being the first goal, 2 of them are quickly encountered further down the beach. After taming the first, the second should have been easy, but just as it started taking torpor, suddenly a loud commotion rang through my ears. Okay, what is... Oh, it's a Spino. A Spino just ran over my face. Excuse me? Hi? You're rude. Bro, what happened?
He ran over me.
And then was like, oh, wait a minute. There was food back there. I'ma go eat it. Just happened and he ate my dodo. So that happened. Not even 5 minutes in and my patience is being tested. Thankfully, the Spino runs off after a Petra and picks a fight with someone else.
Yeah, you fight that theory. He'll kick your butt.
Maybe. Okay, we gotta get started on something. After killing a pego for its hide, I returned to where the dodos died. These green beacons are death points. To remove them, you have to clear the inventory. The berries from the death cache tame the next 2 dodos. These guys would definitely not help with protection on the island, but they do provide other things. On the way back, they witnessed me dispatch another of their kind. What a great way to introduce myself to new friends, but I need to eat too. Once the dodos were home, a platform is built for them, and then, like any good pet parent, they were abandoned so I could go out and get new pets. This is going swell so far. Stone is mined, and it dawns on me that down the beach is the corpse of the Spino. The theory did kill the Spino. That's pretty crazy. I predicted the future. The theory looks peaceful as he walks up the hill and ignores me, so I head to the Spino. After harvesting it for precious meat, a Lystro is spotted not far away. The Lystro is quickly tamed up, and upon turning around, my heart jumps into my chest. I have a problem with this guy standing here. The next 5 minutes are spent fighting this thing. Even after attempting to cheese it with a trike, it still stands. It turns out theories don't attack trikes because both are veggie eaters. Go figure. He's killing me for sport then. He was finally dispatched and his body harvested for meat and hide. The wildlife felt my wrath shortly after as my aggression was taken out on the unsuspecting critters. All the action made me forget about the Lystro, and instead, 2 female dodos were tamed. Their eggs will come in handy. On the way back home, a bonus drop comes down from the sky, and after waiting and waiting, my reward is a leather hat. More stone is gathered, and several items are crafted, including an S+ campfire, the mortar and pestle, and a hatchet. After preparations are complete, we head out to explore once more, stumbling head first into a Spino, barely living to tell the tale of my victory as he falls. This nets me yet another tame, as a female Lystro is chilling down the beach, and right behind her, is that an otter? These guys are further up on the chart, but only because I thought they would be impossible to get early. On the way to grab some fish for the otter, if you paid attention to my last video, you'll know that ADHD controls my playthroughs. A spinning Troodon distracts me. Poking it was probably the worst idea, as soon after, Troodons rearrange my face and send me back to base. After fixing my nose and making sure that my body is intact, my main goal is fish. The otter requires a fish. I dive into the water and one stands out to me. Look at the size of this fella. He is speared and dragged to my new otter friend, and then the 4 of us head back to base. Just as the sun starts to set, the sky opens up and dumps rain on our first night. This doesn't stop me, however. A little rain isn't going to bother this kitty. At home, eggs were gathered by hand, and this reminded me about the AA bench. Once that's placed down, I'm able to craft many items. Most importantly, the egg crate. This will pick up eggs when I'm not home. A compost bin is also crafted to give me useful fertilizer for crops later. My first set of narcotics are also created, along with trank arrows to allow me to later take down my foes with ease. My desire to explore was momentarily stunted as I realized that the furball I had just tamed was on my shoulders. I returned home and left him safely on the platform. While exploring, some of those annoying thief birds were headshot. I can't stand them. If I'm gonna use the arrows I crafted, I need a bow. So I make one, and then a drop on a mountaintop catches my eye. Unfortunately, I get nothing from it, and when I attempt to return to the beach after climbing, my knees become decorative fixtures of my sinus cavity. After losing my life to a cliff dive, I return to the place I died and pick up a new drop, only to get yet another hat. This time, only the hat, and nothing else. The island across the ocean looks enticing, but it's not the island that scares me. It's getting there. Due to my actual fear of the water, or thalassophobia, my cowardice takes over and I decide to stay on this side of the ocean canal. The river is one thing, but this, it's deep, and there are sharks. The venture for now is abandoned and home calls. Thirst is gnawing at my throat on the way back, so I dipped my toes into the water for just 2 seconds, and suddenly...
Hello?
Oh my god, I ran into a freaking manta ray.
Everything is out to scare me in this game, I swear. The decision is made to fight yet another Spino on the way home, and unfortunately he devours me. Upon return, he's finished off, but leaves me on a sliver of health. A Titanosaurus is then killed for some early metal, oil, and electronics. Exploring behind my base, I recalled my first adventure up here. Because of the past, I expect a snake, but what I find is a snail. It's curled up, and while distracted, a clever girl pounces me from the side and scares me yet again. You were hiding for a reason. My hunger bar has drained to the point of starvation, so a campfire is plopped down and some meat is thrown in. While waiting for it to cook, the smell attracts nearby wildlife, and a pig wanders close to me. After KOing and befriending a Phiomia, my meat finishes cooking and tops off my hunger bar. After taming the pig, my explorations take me to a dead snake. Shortly after, the creature who killed it is discovered. A Calicotherium is finished off for its prime meat, which will come in handy if compies cross my path. As we are exploring deeper, some bugs attack me, and my pig runs away for some reason. After looking for him for several minutes, another pig is knocked out instead. The moment another pig is snoring, here comes my first pig as if to say, "I'm back, you missed me?" The new one is killed and the ants return to annoy me. These things keep attacking me over and over. A female pig is quickly tamed so that I can get the heck out of this place. On the way home, an abandoned Titan boa egg is found and pocketed. As we head home, a Spino pops up and scares me. However, after a couple of spears to the face, he runs off. When I turn around to get my pigs, I find the Spino dead behind them. I'm immediately suspicious, but not worried enough to not harvest the body. While doing so, a weird sound is heard, and upon removing the body...
Oh god. I didn't expect that. Oh! Oh! That scared me. Oh, that scared me so bad.
Eat what I said at the start of the day. Everything in this game is out to scare me. I hate it. I need dilos. I need protection. I am in desperate need of something that can get me through this so I can stop nearly dying of a heart attack. Unfortunately for me, something so stupid simple is causing dilos not to spawn. And when you find out, you will laugh at me too. Back at home, the egg crate is placed down along with a compost bin. A spyglass would help out a lot. However, it takes cementing paste and metal, so eventually it'll be a goal, but I don't have those right now. Clothing is a priority as I'm getting a little cold. There is still the issue of having no dilos. First though, I died to another Spino. I give up going that direction and head up another one. On the way, another drop is picked up and gave me some leather gloves and arrows. There are dodos everywhere, but not a single dilo. Through the rest of the day, my exploration still leads to nothing but disappointment. A lot of fights. And I also got this Spino egg. Oh hey look, a Titanosaur. Home calls me once more, and I pull up the tracker and laugh internally at myself as the realization hits me. Dilos were disabled. Yes, I did in fact disable dilos. Why? You and I both know. I have no idea. After restarting the server and logging back in, the spawns were verified. And look at that. After who knows how long, dilos are finally spawning. And getting some is my next goal. I headed back to the place where it was scary to cross and swallowed my fear, diving into the water. I don't like this. It was not fun, but all things considered, it wasn't that bad. The other side of the island had 2 dilos side by side, almost as if it were fate. Both were downed and added to my party. They are tested out against the wildlife, almost mowing down this poor defenseless bird. With our new attack dogs, the journey home is much easier. And the annoying jellies in the water are taken out for biotoxin. The 2 I just tamed are left at home as they are needed for eggs. And there's another one found partly down the beach. Not even 5 minutes after taming him, a baryonyx attacks me. Because of my dilo friend, we did just enough damage to avoid my death. Unfortunately, he died.
Well, I gotta get another dilo.
In his honor, several other dilos are tamed up, along with a parasaur. But it won't be around very long. As night starts to set in, my tames and I head across the water. While swimming, a red message pops up. So much for that. Attempting to save the rest of my creatures, I tried to attack the fish, only to end 3 of my dilos by my own hand. This is just not my night. The survivors and I exit the water and go home. Back at home, a parasaur pays us a visit, and happily joins our camp. His presence attracts a female, and she joins the team as well. She is an incredibly good level, and would be my first rideable mount. I mentally named her Ducky because everyone knows you have to name one of these Ducky. Just before dusk, a saddle is crafted for Ducky, and now, on day 4, we can ride in a battle. Ducky makes berry gathering very easy. After spending a few minutes doing that, I decided to test out something new that was added since the last time I played. Some type of detection? When you right-click, she rears up and detects all nearby enemies. That's pretty cool. Useful in PvP, but I don't know how useful it's going to be for me in PvE. The goal for today that may or may not get achieved is a super spyglass. This will help me see dino levels and other useful information through a telescope-like object. Because I've played a little of the game before, I know where metal and crystal are, so I head off to find those. My obsession with dilos almost destroys me as I try to tame a dilo that spit in the face of Donatello, only to end up fighting the entire cast of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and The Land Before Time, as I regret all of my choices. After about 10 minutes of fighting everything under the sun, I'm finally allowed to catch my breath and give up on the stupid dilo that got me into that mess in the first place. I also forgot about the metal and crystal. After the excitement, my next goal is going to be the little monkeys. So my parasaur and I traveled across the water where we got the dilos earlier in search of a monkey. A nifty little tracking mod helps me locate one, but just as I get close, it dies. That's an entire trip wasted. I head back home dejected, and on the way back, a drop graciously gives me something to lift my spirits. A Mastercraft parasaur saddle. Ducky is happy to be equipped with this, so much so that she bucks me off. We headed back home, and once there, I looked around at all my dinos and realized they might be a little hungry. I placed down a trough and filled it, and then they looked less likely to eat me in my sleep. I headed off to find yet another monkey. However, I soon find out he's way too far away, and taking my parasaur with me is a waste of time and might also get her killed. As night rolls in, the decision was made to leave the parasaur at home and head off solo, in search of my next 2 monkey friends. As I swim across the water, alone, scared to be venturing on my own, I spot a Spino under the surface, but it was dead. Upon swimming up to it, I was shocked to see that it was a level 150. What the heck could have killed a level 150 Spino? I'm not sticking around to find out. I quickly dragged myself out of the water. The goal today was to tame small monkeys. But as I was lost in thought, a croc snuck up on me and chomped on my leg. Thankfully, I was faster than the silly thing and managed to take it down quickly. The smell of fresh corpse drew yet another challenger, and a raptor jump-scared me, but I bested it as well, harvesting them both for hide. Given that I was out in the open, I decided to tame a couple more dilos for protection. Just as the last one tamed up, something poked its head around a corner behind a tree.
Hi.
And in one swing, all the dilos I just tamed were gone. The tickle chicken was back for revenge. Unfortunately for him, the dilos blinded him just before meeting their fate, slowing him down enough just for me to get enough hits in. He would have killed me if not for my sacrificial pets once more. Look at my health bar! I stumbled off with a busted leg and a shattered pride to go pick up some more dilos, and continue my trek for monkeys. There was one I was tracking and it wasn't far away. There she is. After pulling some berries out of my pocket, she seemed pretty interested and agreed to follow us, jumping up on my shoulder. Now to find a male. Just like all men, this one was playing with my emotions, trying to get me killed. Not once, but twice. What a jerk! Finally, he sat still long enough to eat a berry, only to yell at me and run off again. Typical. After several more minutes, I coaxed him into eating another berry, and he noticed the female on my shoulder. His entire personality changed, and he joined me without a hassle. Like a pro, I slid off the cliff down to the water's edge and considered how to get home from here. We were quite far away. The first thing that came to mind was a raft. I noticed I wasn't wearing any pants, and I fixed that, and then picked up the rest of the things I needed for a raft. After gathering what I needed, a raft was created and placed on the water, and me and my 2 monkeys and what was left of Dilos headed home. On our voyage home, I spotted my next tame. Perfect. She was exactly what we needed. I have to come back for her though, because I'd rather get these guys home first. Once my new tames were home, I left them there to set off to grab the tame I passed. If I could take her down, our playthrough will get so much faster. It took a minute to find her, but I knew that she would be my first rideable carnivore. It took more than a few tranks to take her out, and she bit me quite a few times. But after our little fight, she was down, and now she was mine. Her level wasn't the best, but she still will do wonders for the playthrough. Ducky was demoted to base duty, and this girl was loaded onto the raft and sailed home. At home, it became very obvious to me that I was missing a lot of the basics. Give me a break. It's been a while since I've played this game. To get down to business, I needed a smithy. To make a smithy, I needed metal ingots. To make metal ingots, I needed a forge. To put things simply, I needed a lot of things. My new baryonyx was put on follow, and we mined metal and stone late into the evening. Just as the sun set, the forge was finished. I placed it down, put metal into it, and put it to smelt. As soon as I had enough, a smithy was forged, and now for a saddle. Except, no. Because of my ADHD, and citizens, you should be very used to this, I didn't craft a saddle. In fact, I crafted everything but a saddle. I crafted a metal pick, a metal hatchet, a flak shirt, a crossbow, and flak pants. Then, when I went to craft the saddle, you know what happened? I needed more metal. Annoyed at myself for messing up my metal haul, which was specifically meant for that saddle, I equipped armor and tools with a sigh. Placed down a random cooking pot I got from a drop and stared at it for a moment. Making kibble was a mystery to me, as I hadn't played the game since probably early 2016, and they've changed a lot since then. It took me all the way until the next morning to give up on making kibble. On day 6, it became clear I needed to get to Metal Mountain. In my previous playthrough, I made a base in South Zone 2, and I distinctly remember a small metal mountain right behind my house. That was the goal for today. However, after looking at the map, I realized it would just be faster to respawn there, so I did what any logical person would do. I jumped off a cliff. Don't question me. This allowed me to respawn in the new location, and it didn't take me long to get where I needed to go. Thank goodness for the drops staying in my inventory. Otherwise, I may not have ever attempted this challenge. The item system in ARK was so annoying. Once I had gathered a lot of what I came for, I started to wonder how I was going to get home. I was walking at a snail's pace, overloaded with so much crystal and metal that I practically had it spilling out of my ears. And just then, a thought struck me, and I grinned at a parasaur like the Grinch grinning at Max when he came up with his plan. You will be my pack mule. I tamed the parasaur and loaded it up with my goods. On the way back, my greed got the best of me, and I thought, why have one pack mule when you can have 2? I chased after a pig, but stopped abruptly when I ran into a wall, and staring me right in the face was my nemesis through this playthrough. A tickle chicken. You win, pig. I settled just on the parasaur and headed home. After a while, I crafted a saddle because my feet hurt, so I rode the rest of the way home. Thankfully, this will be the last time I ride a herbivore as a mount. Back at home, I managed to control the ADHD monkey playing with symbols in my brain and crafted the saddle. Overcome with excitement, I took my baryonyx out, swinging her tail in a circle to take out tons of fish. It was amazing. I love this skill. It's definitely one of my favorites in the game. The baryonyx spin is a stun, so my fear of the ocean is very slightly lessened. Obtaining this dino is a huge advancement, especially for just day 6. After having a little bit of fun, it was time to get back to work. We needed kibble, which meant we needed crop plots. But you know me, did I make the plots? No. I got distracted and went after a bronto. Taking it out was incredibly easy and filled me with pride in my little dino mount. After a bronto, a parasaur was a cakewalk. What about an alpha? My baryonyx was salivating at the chance to take this guy on, and we did, with ease. Celebrated by knocking out a raptor, and to my surprise it auto-tamed? I didn't know that was a thing. Apparently, if a dino has meat in its inventory, it auto-tames, which is actually pretty cool to witness, as a dino's inventory is typically wiped the second it's knocked out. But because it ate something just as I knocked it out, its inventory didn't wipe. Night began to fall, so we headed back home. On the way, I tamed up 2 patchies, knocking them off my list in one go. I almost forgot I was following a list because I was so happy about the baryonyx. Just outside the house, I found a mosh chops. They wanted cooked prime meat. I had plenty of raw prime meat from the alpha, so I cooked it up, and with this, the mosh chops was tamed. Early on day 7, I ventured towards the swamp and instantly tamed another raptor, which is cool every time. Unfortunately, I couldn't check the raptors off my list though, because as soon as it was tamed, a massive group of troodons devoured it. They must have been related to the trio I interrupted a few days ago. After losing the raptor, I fought off several creatures and headed home. On the way, I spotted an iguanodon and managed to tame it. At this point, I really should have stopped my ADHD-driven distractions and crafted some darn soul traps, but I didn't do that yet. So once again, my tame is killed. This time by my rival, a tickle chicken. Killed it, gave up, headed home. It was time to get serious. Once home, I took the crop plots out of the crafter, and while setting them up, a bird tried to steal them, annoying me and my mount for several minutes. I hate these stupid birds. Do you guys hate these birds? Because the challenge required me to tame every dino, I finally decided to craft soul traps. These would allow me to carry the dinos like Pokemon, putting them in my inventory, and would definitely help speed up the days. I placed down the crop plots, filled them up, and set up all the new stuff for kibble. It was late at night by the time the garden was finished, so I went off exploring while waiting for the crops to grow. During my journey, an alpha raptor attacked us, but he was no match for my baryonyx. The kill rewarded me with a really nice crossbow, which would come in handy for upcoming tames. Shortly after, I knocked out and tamed a female compy. I forgot I had crafted the soul balls, so for the moment, the compy and a dimorphodon I tamed shortly after just followed me around. It took me a little bit to figure out how to use the soul ball, but once I did, the compy and dimorphodon were safely stored away in the early morning hours. On my way home, I was ambushed by a pair of baryonyx. The male of the two was tamed, checking baryonyxes off my list. My eye is still out for a high-level baryonyx though, as that will be my ticket to completing the game. After taming the baryonyx, our exploration of the swamp yielded more treasures. A cave was hidden deep in the forest, and I decided to explore it. One wrong move would send us right off the edge. Initially, everything went smoothly. I even got the courage to take a little dip. A drop was found, but nothing exciting was contained within. Just as I was about to leave, I was bitten. It dawned on me that I'd been infected by something called mega rabies, and I was about to fall over dead. I balled up my baryonyx before collapsing. I hadn't known about mega rabies until I entered this cave, and now I needed to figure out how to stop it. A quick Google search taught me that I needed a specific antidote, which I would need to make if I wanted to explore any more caves. Without caves, I couldn't beat the game. Since our death was so far from home, respawning close to my death point was the best move. I did want to attempt the cave again, but considering what had just happened, decided against it for now. In my wanderings, I robbed some beavers of their hard-earned goods, gaining a lot of cementing paste. A female raptor graced my path and was successfully tamed, crossing raptors off my list. Some brontos were dispatched for their bones as they would be needed later. They also dropped me an egg, which I tucked in the saddlebags of the baryonyx before heading into the swamp. Upon arrival, some special X seeds were harvested from an ugly bush, just as something caught my eye on a cliff above. Making my way up the cliff, an iguanodon lined up for me to tame it. Unfortunately, bugs attacked me, and even after stepping back to kill them, the damage killed my potential tame. Frustrated, I encountered a mosh chops, and unable to check its level and gender without a spyglass, I ate it instead. A curious little dimorphodon wanders in my path, and he was exactly what I needed to finish off the dimorphodon for the list. Speaking of the list, trikes were next. I could do that from home. Towards the end of the day, I arrived back home and placed a couple of auto ARK structures I have crafted. The AA console will auto-sort all inventories, so the rest of the night was spent sorting and crafting items, and towards the early morning, a trike was tamed up to help gather berries. Just after getting the trike, the super spyglass was finally crafted, which would definitely help from here on out. Day 9 was primarily focused on sorting inventory because things had gotten a little messy. I got quite a bit of base progress done and braved the ocean a little bit, got some oil. I was surprised I didn't lose my mind down here. Being with my berry makes me a little bit braver. The generators are fired up and now we have power. This will fuel our next adventures, and maybe I can finally figure out how to make kibble? Late into day 9, I'm still organizing stuff. I went AFK for a few seconds, and a raptor attacked and broke my campfire. Trike finished him off, and I continued my base modifications. Toward the end of the early morning of day 10, the base was finally in a state where I felt comfortable going out exploring again. The morning was spent exploring through the woods and into the swamp. Despite trying, nothing of substance was found, so it was mostly just wasted time. On the way back, I got another golden egg, which was seeming a lot less rare. An alpha raptor tried to take it from me, but I ended him for even trying, and he dropped me nothing of interest. In order not to bore myself or my viewer, home was the next destination. At home, several AA items were crafted and placed down. A lot more inventory sorting was done, so the rest of day 10 was kind of also used up. The morning of day 11 was spent fighting off birds from my new tame, another trike. I tamed it up and a new saddle was crafted for it. Our characters finally gained names. Baroness for our amazing baryonyx, Cheshire for our adorable little otter, and Ducky for the first ride. Eventually I would need to get kibble, but I also needed a lot of resources, so we headed off to Metal Mountain. I spent all day mining metal and crystal, and on the way home stole from a couple of poor beavers. Thanks to the beavers, I was able to tame a moss chops because I got rare mushroom. I thought it was a girl. I need a female, and both of these are males. My disappointment takes me home once more as the gravity of the situation starts to weigh on me. I'm getting stuck on some of the easiest tames, and my days are not going any slower. With over 10 days down, the challenge starts to look more difficult. The metal takes all night to finish crafting, so by the morning the metal is finished and I actually do make some progress. Day 12 started off crafting our first major upgrade, the kibble cooker. A lot of narcotics are needed now that I'm going for larger tames, so I break out the trike and take out my frustrations on the vegetation. It stands no chance and its berries are used to make droogs. Another trip into the ocean is needed as oil seems to be one of the rarest resources for me. I hate the water, so being here kinda gives me the creeps. I wish there were words to describe just how being in the water felt. There was almost nothing around me, and I was still petrified. Just watching back the footage while editing had me clutching my chest internally. I utilized the spoiler to create plenty of spoiled meat, and AFK'd for a little bit, waiting for it to spoil. Rain, in reality, is my favorite weather, and there's no difference in ARK. Rain is so peaceful and quiet. I just love when it's raining. I stood watching for a moment, just chilling in the downpour, talking to the chat. Did you know I live stream these? Join me sometime, they're quite fun to watch. Hit subscribe and join the Discord server for notifications from me directly. If you're looking for a server to play games on with over 20 games supported, if you use the link in my description, you will get a 30% discount and be supporting my channel as well. Thank you to Nodecraft for sponsoring part of this playthrough. When it turned midday, I snapped out of my daze and I went out exploring once more. Almost nothing was accomplished, so I was about to head back when a drop came down right in front of me. As if blessed by the ARK gods, I waited, and boy am I glad I did. Look at this bow. It's cyan for a reason, and oh boy, this crossbow will be a final upgrade for a reason. At least as far as crossbows were concerned. Getting something better than this anytime soon would be incredibly difficult. I did a lot more running around when I found a point where I probably should turn back. The snow area contained rather ferocious beasts, from Utas to Rexes to a Giga or a Karchar. The snow was asking to have my butt handed to me on a silver platter and a one-way ticket back to base. Perhaps I need a stronger berry to take the area on. Baroness was great, but she's not the proper mount for this area. I sat and observed from afar before turning around and heading back home. On the way home, I stumbled across my last iguanodon, taming it up from my list. I tried really hard to knock out some galleys, but after killing the one by one, I realized my thought of an earlier rifle would be happening sooner rather than later. We got back home late at night, and with the day coming to a close, I set my sights on making a rifle. Without it, taking down galleys is impossible. I spotted a moss chops and allowed myself to be distracted for a moment as I tamed her, and what I didn't notice until writing the script is that they're both dudes. We'll tame a female later. The original plan was to go to Metal Mountain, but I came across a cave. With PTSD from my last cave run, I contemplated even going in at all, but here we go. I prayed there were no bats in here. I went inside knowing it could possibly be a bad idea. Right away, Megalanias dropped down on my head, scaring me slightly. And further in, I killed a bunch of big bugs. It had to be an easy cave though, because it took me 5 minutes, if that, to get to the artifact chamber. I almost didn't go in because Baroness was too tall to ride this ride. After hopping off and facing my fears, I realized the room was safe and it's just the artifact. After picking it up, I left through another room and I found a chest in the water. Being on my berry was extremely calming. However, getting off of her scared the crud out of me. Even though I killed every creature in this pond of water, I was still scared. I got a decent dolphin saddle, but I don't really know if it'll come in handy. Once leaving the water, another chest was found. This had to be the most OP boots for a level 1, Ascendant Cloth Armor. Definitely for a beach bob. I picked up a note and then headed out of the cave. On the way out, I got an OP torch that went along with the silly level 1 shoes. Outside of bad drops, that went surprisingly well, and I'm slowly facing my fear of the water. Slowly. Just as I got towards the cave entrance, my second fear kicks in as arachnids fall from the ceiling all around me. Water and spiders. Why does this game have 2 of my worst nightmares? Get me out of here. here. Finally, I'm out of the cave. My heart can slow down and stop running a marathon. Whoever made this game made it specifically to give me, and me alone, the heebie-jeebies. Right outside the cave, I get my last compy I needed for the collection. A few hilltops away, I finished off our iguanodons. After that, the redwoods are calling my name, so I head out there for a little adventure. I dropped a female deer, but got distracted. When I turned around to tame her, everything started attacking her, and she died. What an annoying game sometimes. I take a male down, and he's two-teamed by Thylas. I come across another male deer and tame him, instantly putting him in my inventory because of the trauma from the past 2 events. Finally find a female deer, and with that, the third to last creature of rank 1 is crossed off. Now to get galleys and dolphins. I head home at night knowing I cannot tame galleys with my current weapon. At home, I craft up a soul gun and a tranq rifle. While at home, I head into the ocean for the first deep dive to find some dolphins. I find a male close to shore and offer him fish. Much like the otter, they are passive tames, so soon he's following me. Just behind him, I notice a light drop come down and go to find out what it is. To my surprise, I find a decent ichthyosaddle. I took the male dolphin home and set off to find him a friend. This would prove difficult because everything apparently in this ocean is a dude. It takes a lot of exploring to finally find one. As I'm feeding it, an angry turtle tries to stop me. I end up getting her anyway, as turtles are very slow. That's dolphins crossed off. Now just 1 dino in this tier remains. I soulball the female and I head home. By the time I get back to base, the morning has peeked its head in, and now I'm prepared to take on the last of the tier. The Gallimimus. They're hard to take down because my bow did too much damage and not enough torpor, so the plan is to use the long neck. They are such a pain in the butt because they're fast and love to run straight into death, just like this one did. After several hours of game time, I finally find a galley that doesn't immediately cosplay a slab of meat and tame him up. The female decides to relive her days of being a fish in the last moments of freedom, but I catch her too. I hope I never have to deal with these guys again. I will in the next games, but don't tell me that. Just let me live thinking this will be the last time. With those crossed off, rank 1 is complete. Definitely took way too long to tame all that. Now, the new rank is unlocked, and I start speed taming. First, a gorilla, then a male carno, followed by a male perlavia. Finished off momentarily by a female carno. Now that's what I'm talking about. Not long after that, I speed tame even more. A female turtle, then both sarcas at the same time, and then I knocked out a frog. While taming it, something ate it and left me absolutely bewildered because I didn't know what happened. The bag was just floating in the sky next to me and I was lost. Shrugging off the confusion, I finish off day 14 by taming a female frog, male capro, and a male dimetrodon. With that much done in just 1 day, I basically quadrupled my progress in the first 2 days significantly. We'll ignore how embarrassing that is and just go on to our next goal. As I'm headed home in the early morning, I found a drop. Unaware of what I just got, I continue taming, taking down and taming 2 stegos. The sun starts to peek over the horizon. I should have been paying more attention to Baroness's health. I got in a fight with some allosaurs, and they gnash, causing a lot of bleed damage. When I finished the fight, I had just over half health remaining. This is not factored in when I missed the water and jumped straight down, causing severe damage to Baroness's health pool. I picked up a drop, and I got back on her and finally realized the damage she had taken. She had so many drops, I could not pick them all up. I had to leave some behind as I continued on foot. Now I was scared. I ran up to Obsidian Mountain, mostly just to get out of the trees in case I was being hunted. I did take advantage of the obsidian all around me, but was left overburdened, so as I was cleaning it out, an opportunistic scorpion attempted to eat me for dinner. Unfortunately for him, I'm fast. He didn't get too many hits in before passing away. I pulled Baroness back out because being without her was starting to scare me. I tried to wait for her health to regen, but it was going so slow. I should not have attempted to fight the Kentros. Who knew these veggie-eating terrors hit so hard? And who knew that what was about to happen would be memorable? One of the dinos is hit directly in the face by a trank starting off our battle. It becomes obvious very quickly that these guys won't be easy to take down as they take on almost no torpor. It takes several hits to KO this first one. In the process, Baroness is getting lower and lower in health. In an effort to save her, I attempt to run away, but her jump speed takes flight and lands harshly. With only a sliver of health remaining, I'm left determining what to do. If I put her away, I face these by myself, and if I don't, she dies. So away she goes, and I turn to fight. I nailed one and headed for the hills. I spent time rotating in circles attempting to get the others. Another one runs off as the torpor goes into critical levels, and it's just me and this guy now. I chased down the one that ran away and then turned my attention to the one chasing me. Another couple more darts, and all 3 are sleeping peacefully. Baroness is alive, and my heart is pounding. That could have gone worse. It It's during this time I realized that the kibble is going to be needed from here on forward. These guys are taking an insane amount of time and aren't even full level. After taming them, I tried to take out Baroness again only to find out she's still not healed. I have to leave her in my bag and explore the mountain alone. My explorations lead me looking down on an alpha raptor. As I attacked it, it yeeted itself off the cliff. I tried to follow it, but apparently I am not a yeet master, and I slid to my death. What an interesting adventure. I take advantage of the fact that the game sent me home and craft up a ton of kibble. After taking a look at the kibble chart, it becomes apparent to me that upcoming soon, I will need to craft bug repellent, so I craft plenty of that too. After the kibble and repellent were finished crafting, my exploration continued. I headed straight back to the mountain where I died before. Just after midnight, I knocked out an incredibly good Anki. He wasn't 150, but 135 was close enough for me. I slip him into my bag, and Baroness and I continue back to my death point. During my travel, the Alpha Raptor Yeet Master showed his face, but this time didn't stand a chance. Unfortunately, much like the previous ones, his death didn't secure me much of use. Early the next morning, we were running through the redwoods, keeping my eye out for a high-level pterodon when I spotted a drop on a hill. Upon making it to the top, I froze. This guy was a new creature, the Ryanatha. I don't know what this guy did, and I was not going to find out the hard way. To say I freaked out would be an understatement. I left quickly, hoping not to see him again for some time, but I got up to a vantage point to look over the swamp and watch for a bit, seeing nothing. After running off a cliff, I learned why I didn't see him. It attacked my nemesis and met its demise. Now I know why Tickle Chicken is so scary. It just beat that thing's butt. Picked up a pheromone off the dead Ryanatha and headed back towards the house. On the way, 2 Pegos joined my team, because I finally figured out you can press T to put the berries in their inventory. That's another set of dinos off the list. A high-level Petra would help me take to the skies finally, and that's today's main goal. Thankfully, it doesn't take me long to find one. In fact, I find 2. Cosmo and Wanda. I tame up Cosmo and Wanda, crossing them off my list. A Hesperornis had to be one of the most annoying tames in the current taming tier, so to make it easy, I looked it up. According to the wiki, Hesperornis are more easily tamed with the fish that Ichthyornis give. My next plan, find the most annoying bird ever and tame it. I find out after taming it, despite being annoying, this is a very useful bird. Maybe my hatred for them is unneeded. At least for the tamed version. I spent the next 2 hours in game trying to figure out how to work the bird, but once I did figure it out, I took it out with my new Petra and tried to tame a Hesperornis. Finally, I can take to the skies, which opens up a whole new travel route. Can't wait to see how this is going to tear me a new one. And it will. I use my newfound wings to pick up a little snail friend and take him back to base. Unfortunately, I can't tame him yet, so I just make him a pin and collect his drops. Acatina paste. A 1-for-1 trade-off with cementing paste. Just as I finish building the little pins, something attacks and all the organizing I did on day 9 is put to waste. As now, my dinos are all over the place. I sigh heavily and give up having them all out. Each dino is collected, and a soul terminal is created and placed, and now the base feels so empty, but so clean. Day 17 starts with logging back in. The ARK animated drops are suddenly in my inventory. Dinos were stored away, and I pulled out some ARK animated skins. After trying them out on a dodo, I nearly fell over laughing at the silly thing.
Hi there. I want you to look animated. That looks so cute! Look at it! It's so dark on this side. It's like dark dodo. I'm Batman! I'm a dodo. I'm Batman! I'm a dodo! I love it! What is happening? That's so cute. I honestly love it. I need to see the ARK animated series now.
Okay, today's goal was to gather all missing tames from this tier. A female Dimetrodon was chilling next to a croc, and she bolted into the water when I got close. Finding anything in the swamp was hard. There was so much water and everything kept attacking me. The rain set in as night started to fall, which made it even harder to see. The female was seen again, but it was in deep water, and you know how I feel about water. I tried just to wait it out, hovering in the sky for a bit. My waiting worked as she moved towards shore. I got off the Petra and switched mounts. While looking for her, a level 105 Baryonyx charges me. Change of plans. Hello, new ride. And Baron is knocked out and tamed. What a nice random catch. After putting him away, back in the water I go. The Dimetrodon was here somewhere. I found her, but I was attacked by fish, so first I had to take them out. Once out, it was her turn. A few drinks later, she was mine. Once packed away, I headed home. It's time to thank Baroness for her service and mount up our new guy, Baron. I tried for several hours until the next day to get a Hesperornis and was left wanting to strangle them to death. So, I gave up for now. I was not wrong that these things were annoying. A female Moschops was finally tamed, crossing Moschops off the list. The ARK gods gave me yet another Hesperornis to take my aggression out on, and I punched it so hard it laid me a golden egg. I tried to knock out one later, realizing they were passive tames. Go figure. This was going to make me hate ARK if I didn't already. I turned my eye to getting the other annoying bird, a female Ichthy. I glitched on her as I knocked her out because ARK is silly, but I tamed her up and crossed Ichthy birds off my list. I must be hurting for punishment because I returned to try and tame yet another Hesperornis. I had to deal with this, so you have to deal with this. Keep in mind, this is sped up and cut down for your viewing pleasure. Because the ARK devs are Einsteins, the button to feed fish is the same button to drop fish. And between dropping the fish and the bird swimming faster than a torpedo on steroids, this tame had me wanting to break my no trap rules. But I didn't. I was good. Remember, we have to do this again. Finally, it was tamed, and I had to take a break for some adult beverage. I hate you. After my AFK session with Mr. Jack Daniel, I find out I have returned to the dead of night. Time to do this again. I could think of so many things that are more entertaining than taming these birds. Doing my taxes, swimming in the ocean, an ingrown toenail, you know, all the pleasurable parts of life that aren't this. That took me, in real life, over an hour. Every time I fed it, the taming bar would drain down another 5. I wanted to scream. Finally, though, it was tamed up. And just like the galleys, do not mention to me that I have to do this again. I am running out of room in my backyard to bury the evidence. Finally, on day 9, we can put away Ichtybird. Thanks, dude. You're not so bad. Now to start preparing for big guys. A lot of tranks were crafted before I head out. A drop caught my eye and yielded me a nice saber saddle, which changed my goals from a capra to a kitty. On the way, I found and tamed a female ape, another off the list. We were lured to the ground to fight an alpha raptor when another Ryanotha was spotted. I put my dino away and decided to face this thing head on. On the cliffside, I stood watching it turn a dinosaur that it was fighting bright yellow. I don't know what that does, but it looks terrifying. Seems like it freezes its prey in place, then attacks while it can't move. Yeah, not scary at all. My cowardice almost makes me leave, but I decide against it and run back to face him. After matrixing several of his orange spit shots, he comes down to fight me man to woman, and falls over. That was honestly kind of easy, and now I'm laughing at myself for being so scared. My adventures take me into the redwoods once more, and I tamed 2 Diplo. Right next to it was a rolled up doed, which I knocked out and tamed. A horse was spotted shortly after, but after being bucked off, it ran into the water like an idiot. I decided I needed carrots. I made kibble through the rest of the night, then grabbed carrots and tried the horse again. After kicking at me a few times, it was finally tamed up. I'm reminded of the cat saddle I got earlier and headed to the snow biome. Sabers are next. A purple drop draws my eye, and I pick up some pretty good geely. I'm not here for a good cat yet, so I just down the level 10 for the list. We head up the mountain and spot a Rex. This is the first one we fight. It's easy. Baroness probably would have been fine. A red drop also catches my eye, and a high level cat. Unfortunately, it dies. I hit way too hard. Further down the hill on day 20, a new saber was spotted. I'm not sure why I'm using my crossbow, I just keep killing them. I should have used the long neck. My explorations lead me deeper into the snow and almost right into a Utah. I thought I was safe, but he saw me and now I'm running for my life. Seconds later, an alpha carno is also on my butt. Thankfully, I lost the Utah only to be spotted by a scorpion. This wasn't a problem because I needed the creepy crawlies. Just as I dropped and tamed it, I noticed a saber with almost full torpor. It must have been fighting the scorpion. Just as I'm trying to take it down, the moment I dismount, the scorpion that was fighting it bites me. It takes me a minute to reload, but I drop the scorpion. I don't need this one because I have females, but I tame it anyway, and then I return to the cat. Sabers are now marked off the list. I had to AFK, so I self-exited using the fish in the cold water. Once back from AFK and back at base, I prepared for our next dinos. Honestly, I should have stayed AFK because if I did, what just happened wouldn't have. As soon as I finished preparing, I head out. Unfortunately, I'm not paying attention, and as I'm flying, my Petra runs out of stamina. He heads straight into the mouth of a Spino. In order to save him, I jumped off midair and die from fall damage. I head back on Baron and pick up my Petra. Thankfully, the Spino didn't touch him. Baron finishes off the Spino and we head into the redwoods. Some honey would be nice for an early morning breakfast, so a bee would be useful, but my first attempt failed because I was not aware that the bees were attacking me, so I'm dead again. I run back and try again, because we all know trying the same thing over and over is definitely going to work. Well, it didn't. I didn't have the preparation needed for this. We head back home to make bug repellent and get Geely, because that's the only way this silly bug is going to be my friend. After getting Geely and bug repellent, I head out and was distracted by a drop. This yields me a long neck rifle that is an upgrade to my plain one. Back to the bee, now with the repellent and Geely. She was easy to tame. The second one was just as easy and checks bees off my list. I planned on getting dung beetles next so that I didn't waste the repellent, but spotted a horse and tamed that instead. After that, 2 terror birds were tamed, and then a doed to finish off that as well. The doed was left there to fit on its own because I had no more soul traps. Back at home, I crafted more, then placed down the queen. You'd think touching it once would teach me not to touch it again, but no, I touched it again because I didn't learn the first time, so I fall over dead. This time, I left it alone and headed back to collect my doed. The next goal is capros. I may or may not use them caving, but they were next on my list. A female capro was downed and tamed. We headed back home, and an alpha carno was spotted and taken out. Nothing much gained, similar to other alphas. We head back to the mountains looking over the Ankies there. I'm not looking for a high level one, so the few low levels here would be perfect. I backed up to start taming it and got jump scared as Rexes walked right over me to come and attack the Yankees. They didn't even care that I was there. Baron killed them both and saved the Yankees. The low level 15 is still alive, knocked out, and tamed. I checked the tames in my inventory and realized I have 2 male horses, so while exploring I ran into a female one. She was a pain to tame though because she would not stop running. She was glitched on rocks and trees, and I freed the horse and it ran into the water straight towards an alpha. Thankfully, I killed the alpha and was able to finish off and close out day 22 with a female horse. As day 23 rolled in, mantas were put on the radar, and some cave exploration. Cheshire was given some artifacts to hold, and I started to figure out how to tame a manta. It seemed I didn't have a way to safely do it. Angler gel was needed to tame them, so once that was located, I realized I couldn't just dive into the ocean unprepared. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Kitty, you're afraid of the ocean. How are you going to go into it? Well, your answer? Like a little wuss. Just wait and see. It gets good. Well, I had to craft up some scuba stuff, which meant a fabricator was needed. After that was crafted, the scuba stuff was acquired, and it was time to dive in the water with Baron. My entry into the water was slow. I looked side to side, expecting to be murderized by something soon. Thankfully, nothing seemed to be interested in me, and my goal of a manta was within reach. But I have to lure it away. Once I got it in shallow enough water, she was insta-tamed. We went back into the water to find a male. I found one, and he's fighting a turtle and a megalodon, and now I have to figure out what to do. So I gave up on that one, and I went down lower in the water. Going deeper makes me shiver, but it has to be done. As I'm attempting to lure it, a megalodon attacks me and I accidentally kill the one I'm trying to tame. So I return to the ones attacking the turtle. Try taking out the turtle, kill the male. Out of anger, end up killing the female. This is not my day. Now to find a new one. Again, I find another, try to lure him, and a megalodon comes to attack. However, I'm able to kill the shark and lure these 2 mantas to shore. I tame it up and realize I left all 200 of my soul balls at home. Wonderful. I have to put him on follow and head home, hoping he doesn't get killed on the way. Thankfully, we make it home, I grab my soul traps, and I sold the manta. I took a look at the taming list and decided to go caving, except I forgot antidotes. It goes wonderfully, or at least it would have if I could have gotten there. I wandered for hours trying to find the place, and it's nighttime by the time I come across it. You would think I'd get the antidotes before I go in the cave, but it comes to mind when I get there. Then finally, I look up how to make it. Upon discovering I have none, I make a teleport bed and hope to eventually use it. This will come in handy later. Not. Once down, I head off in search of leech blood. Entire run here was useless. I forgot my fly mount, the bed didn't work, and I'm in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, and I showed up with no antidote. When I tell you I've got no idea what I'm doing in this game, please believe me. I am flying by the seat of my pants here. So back at base, I find the leech blood, and this time, craft some antidotes, and a full set of flak armor. Now I'm ready to return. Baron is packed into my bag, and I set off on the Petra, back to the place where I placed the bed. On the night of 23, I enter the cave and pick up Baron's poop, and my own because we're here to tame dung beetles. And like always, I come unprepared. I get in, kill some stuff, and go to tame the beetles, only to learn they actually like spoiled meat, so I did not need to poop at all. I laughed that off and tamed 2 of them because they don't have genders. That was actually kind of easy. Yeah, don't worry, we'll make up for that shortly. Just as I find the relic room and move closer...
Are there any wall snakes? Oh god, what was that? Ah! Wall spiders? Where are y'all coming from? Ah! You guys are like appearing out of the walls. That's not fair.
The walls empty tons of spiders into my path. After fighting creepy wall spiders, I get the relic and hand it off to Cheshire. I gathered up obsidian and gave that to him also. Anything you put into an altar is made at half weight, so it helps a lot to have heavy stuff inside of them. The half weight is also applied to the player, however, if they pick him up. I fill him full of heavy stuff and then pick him up and head down to the water where a crate is collected. But it gives me nothing good. Going back to land, another useless crate is picked up. And as if I thought it would be different, I dive back in and get another, yet useless crate. What a cave! In my wandering, I end up back in the artifact cave, so I collect a second hunter artifact. With that, the hunter cave is done, for now. I'll get more of these off stream. Once exiting the cave on day 24, I decide to go to another one, and I have plenty of daylight left. This new cave is a tight fit for Baron. Once we get in, it seems to open up a lot bigger. The cave is full of mushrooms, bats, well, lots of bats, and also it's a long way down, so I have to be more careful. More extremely tight crawl spaces. I'm glad I'm not claustrophobic on top of all my other fears. And I realized this is where I got mega rabies. Up by the falls, I noticed an underwater cave, so that's where I needed to go. Swimming through that led to an open area. I jump back into the water, and this leads me to another underwater tunnel. Following this, I come out to land once more, and then run into more water. What a strange cave. Yet another water tunnel, and I struggle to get out of the water. These caves are not made well, and I have to make a leap for it. Another tunnel takes me to even more water. Okay, ARK devs, a little creativity wouldn't hurt you. More water? Am I shocked? No. I stopped to admire a crystal thing, thinking there's something inside of it, but nope, that's just too creative for ARK devs. It finally opens back up into another cave, in a place I already was. Okay, that's annoying. So somewhere along that stupid path, I missed the turn for the artifact chamber. Let's try this again. I'll skip you to the good part. After a long time, I finally get to a new area and parkour across it. But aside from a megalodon note, this area offers me nothing. What an annoying cave. I attempted to back my berry off the rock, looking down at the water, but I fell in. This is new. There are creatures down here and a drop, so somehow I got to a new part of the cave. I got off to grab the drop and end up punching a Sarco in the face. Take that, butthead. Trying to eat me? Who do you think you are? Lots more underwater area I haven't been to yet. After more exploration, I end up being lost again, and also back in a familiar place. I gave up and watched a YouTube walkthrough, and would you know it? I needed to turn left when I turned right. And there it is, the artifact. Screw this cave. I never want to be back. Don't worry, I'll have to farm this off stream. I get 2 of the artifacts and leave. This cave successfully made me hate caves. Back on the taming journey, our next tame is an Archaeopteryx. This little bird eats chitin to tame, and it's typically found in the redwoods. They're hard to spot because they're so tiny. Typically, they find you before you find them. Because they are so small, I use the tracker to locate a couple. During the exploration, a female Palavia attacks me and I knock her out, but I lost her. I turned on the taming tracker so you can see that she's in the bushes. I tame her up and knock another off my list. That was an unexpected find. Right after finding her, out of nowhere, an Archaeopteryx is just chilling next to me. So approaching it, it yeets itself onto the side of a tree, and I'm kind of confused. I track it down and end up taming 3 males, thinking one of the 3 was female. Apparently, I can't read. This is the first time I've done this. Thinking I completed it, I go off to tame Ruse. I swap mounts and take off. I land next to one and make sure I can knock her out. She looks right at me as I pop her with a trank, and the chase is on. And boy does she run fast. 3 tranks later and she's down. Just as I get off to get it, ants attack me. My berry, attempting to protect me, kills my tame. I leave angry. I hate this game. I hate ants. Now I need another Procoptodon. The next one I track is already being hunted, so I have to kill the Rexes chasing it. I drop this male in 1 trank and tame him up quickly. Now for a female. Upon searching, I find there's 2 female Procoptodons on the entire map. What horrible luck. Taming a Rue is momentarily abandoned as I come across a nice female cat. She almost dies as I trank her with 3 HP left, but she becomes mine. Amazing level though. 125 might not be 150, but it's close enough for now. Now back to the Procoptodon. I only have 1 left on the map, and as I'm flying there, I switch my goal to an otter. We'll try the Roo later. Back at home, I do some sorting and throw out a new saber and put a fancy saddle on her. I renamed Cheshire to stop him from losing the artifacts with the auto sort function. The entire day of 26 is spent sorting things. I got the rest of the garden done and finally a fully functioning kibble resource farm. Towards the end of the day, I finally go out to collect our female otter. Takes me to the redwoods and she's glitched in a strange location, but it makes it super easy to drag fish to her and instantly tame her. Now my otters are done. After picking up some useless drops, I set my eye on anglers. This means going into the deep ocean, and that's not going to be fun. Anglers are at the bottom of the ocean. I'm gonna have a bad night. And deep into the water I go. Lots of eels, sharks, and jellies later, I find 2 anglers. Unfortunately, my bow hits too hard and I kill it. While finding a new one, I run into an alpha lead sickness. But the mantas and shark attack me first. I think the lead is passive until it's attacked, and I swim under it and confirm he is indeed passive. I killed a blubberfish, also known as a basilosaurus, and get lots of oil. These guys are wonderful tames, as we'll find out much later. Right now though, I underestimate their usefulness and I just eat them all. I feel a lot safer on my berry, but I have to go find a new angler as the ones I was tracking disappeared. I finally knock out a female angler, and it was hard because they have almost no health and everything wanted to eat me. I hop off and wait anxiously for it to tame. Once she does, I put it away and go off in search of a male. I return to the surface to track the male, and once I leave the tracker... Oh god, dolphin, you fucking scared the piss out of me. Can you not? I am surrounded by dolphins. I don't have anything for you. Please go away. Look at this. I have an entourage of dolphins. By the way, when this channel hits 20,000 subscribers, I'm playing Subnautica. I can't promise I'm going to get very far in Subnautica, but I'm going to play it. And I can stream it so you can laugh at my terror. By the time I get finished taming, it's day 27. I take a flight to get the last angler. This guy's a pain in the butt. The way my berry swims, it's hard to hit them, and they swim in circles, so yeah, it's a pain. I get one super high on torpor and low on health, not really knowing what left to do. Another hit and he's dead. So I will have to wait for him to heal a bit. It took so much to get this guy out. I will scream if he dies. Away from my freaking chain that I worked so hard for, I will destroy you. And everybody related to you. Okay, buddy. Okay. Okay. Yes. This. Yes. Yes, we're done. Yes. I realized I have 3 male Archaeopteryx, so those are actually going to be next. But as I hit the shore, I noticed a Pelagornis, and I drop it. My game is apparently glitched, and every Pelagornis are forever trapped in the middle of the ocean, hovering for eternity. I saved the female from hovering only to almost drown her as she sinks to the bottom. Sharks come in from all angles, and I have to defend her knocked out body. I tamed it, and it poofed from existence, leaving me really confused. It immediately popped back up into the air above the water. This game is so darn glitchy. I soulballed it and head to get the last Archaeopteryx. Once I find one, I one-tap it, and that's Archies off the list. Procoptodons were going to be next, but there's only a male on the map, so I give up on that and sort for the rest of the night. On day 28, I'm ready to tame our snail, but... Come here, buddy! I have finally come... No, something ate my buddy! No! Oh, that sucks. Well, okay. That's fine. I don't have any pants on. Nobody comment that, okay? I fixed my pants situation, and now I needed to go out and find a new snail friend. I head out on the cat just to test it out a little. On our run, I find a new snail, which was unexpected. I tame it right up and bring it home. Once home, I grab my scuba stuff and take off to the snow biome with my flyer. Unexpectedly, in the snow biome, I find a female Procoptodon. After missing about 800 times, I finally hit it, and Baron kills my tame again. The words I want to scream aren't safe for YouTube. After that, I run around in the snow biome until the next morning and find nothing of use. Early in the morning, it's decided that penguins would be a good breakfast. I go eat several of them for their polymer. I managed to also knock one out and tame it. I knock out a female too, but I don't have the prime meat on me, and by the time I grab the prime meat, a Yuta comes to say hi, and I book it out of there. I went to a safe location and tamed one there instead. The Petra was nice and all, but these metal hauls and long flights were definitely a downside. I turned my sights towards an Argentavis. That meant swimming to Carno Island. I stopped to get a drop, netting me some nice Mastercraft flak boots, and a 145 Argent lands right in front of me. Perfect. Few shots and it torpor runs and hovers over the ocean. What a jerk. I picked a fight against an alpha raptor and won as my nearly perfect tame contemplated being reincarnated as a fish. I take my anger out on everything alive on this island waiting for the bird to come back. It takes probably 60 years of my life, but finally the bird comes down and I drop it. Awesome level bird, and the wait was worth it. On the way back, I pick up a sea taming drop. This has a mosasaur saddle, a tuso saddle, and black pearls. What a find. A few minutes later, another red drop nets me an amazing Therizinosaur saddle to make up for harassing me with them, and a Plessy saddle. Just when my luck feels like it's turning around, this game decides to tell me that I am playing ARK. You thought the last RG was amazing? This one is level 150, but it's attacking a mammoth, and while attacking me, the mammoth brings it to 50% HP. Then it attacks an Anki. While attempting to kill the Anki, Barry hits it and now it is on a measly 1 HP. Yep, this game reminded me I am not allowed to have fun. Between waiting for the bird to heal and taking down a Megatherium, it's back to work and no play. I also bring down a woolly rhino and tame them both. I go to look for the bird and apparently it had died to something. What an idiot! I spend all night looking for another 150 and I head back to Carnal Island only to find another female. My other bird is female, so it won't help much, but I plan to down her anyway. But it attacks me, and I accidentally kill it. This is becoming a theme. I leave the island dejected and head back to the mainland. At this point, I realize the tracker is stupid. It says a bird is 150, but it's actually 140. No matter, it's still a decent level. It also said it was female, but it's a male. I hope to lure it away, but it doesn't follow me. Instead, it attacks Allosauruses. This is just not working well for me. But is it ever, though? I watch as the stupid RG, again, dies to something it shouldn't have touched. I'm convinced this game hates me. I switch my goal to the Allosaurus that killed the RG because it's a 115. I take it down and tame it, but then I get Baron and I into an incredibly bad situation. With no soul traps because I put them on Baron on accident, I am royally screwed. The Allosauruses throw me from a cliff and now my Petra and Baron are trapped in the mountains somewhere and I don't know how to get back. I spend a long time trying to get back in regular mode and end up having to go admin to find them. I make it back to them and they're okay. After grabbing soul traps off the Petra, I put Baron away and take to the skies. I head home because it's safe, and after that adventure, I'm good. Back at home, I throw the RG out and prepare it for battle. Argies are kind of like skyberries. They're versatile, work in just about every situation, and are pretty tanky. They also carry a good amount of metal, which we'll need soon. A saddle is made and she's ready to go. Instead of taking off though, megalodons are next on my list, and 2 of them are right outside my base. Pretty cool, they both knock out right next to each other. So now for donkeys. These guys are deeper and my anxiety is at an all-time high as I jump off to tame it. Every sound scares me. I do not want to be down here. My fears are confirmed as jellies and anglers come to attack me and force me back on my mount. I did end up taming the donkey and he comes to my rescue. After the fight, he ends up pretty bloody. I put him away. I don't need to go very far to find my next fear. Plesiosaurs. These guys have terrifying faces. Only a mother could love that. They chase you into certain water depths. This is a male and female couple, so I grow a pair of nuts and I drop them. It scared me, but I did it. I managed to down them both after quite a long fight, and I also got our final donkey. I headed back home and AFK'd for a bit. On day 31, I come back to a Bronto in my house, so I ate him. Then a female Parasaur is dropped and tamed, followed by a male shortly after. While on the way to get more on the taming list, a nice level 145 Pterodon is spotted. Now I have a speed mount. I tame it up and put it away for later. Now I have my eyes set on the Titanosaurus. These guys, for some reason, eat bug repellent. I one-tap the male and while taming him lose track of the female because I spotted some beaver dams to steal their hard work. I was stuck in place because it's so heavy and I almost got bit by an angry beaver. I drop it just in time to get on Baron to kill the beaver. And then I remember I should have probably KO'd them and tamed it. So I tamed the next one. I take advantage of its nap while it's taming and steal the rest of the other dam. Looking around, I notice the Calicotherium, who I know takes beer to tame, and I'm pretty sure is also a passive tame, so I get behind one and attempt to feed it. It tames up with only 1 beer. After getting him, I set my sights on a female, but don't find one. What I do find is a bear minding its own business, so I pop it in the butt with a trank. He doesn't like that very much, but after a couple of tranks he's running from torpor. As I'm chasing it, I find myself annoyed by all of ARK's roadblocks. Petras are so stupid, they walk right in front of you. Not once, but twice. And if that wasn't bad enough, the bear runs right into a theory and a raptor, and you know what happens. I hate this game. I find another bear, and I have difficulty aiming because of the horrible design of mounted combat, and hitboxes not actually taking torpor. When I finally drop it, these stupid jerks attack him, leaving him on almost no health. Thankfully, he tames up. Now I need a female. I spend all night looking for a female and go home. After AFKing a bit, I come back on the morning on day 32. I name one of my petchers weight and one of them speed. I use speed to tame my second snail. In fact, I tamed two because cementing paste is hard to come by, and these guys make it by just existing. Next, I head off in search of an Allosaurus to complete my collection. I tried and failed to knock out this Allosaurus with a scorpion named Knockout. It turns out, Knockout doesn't knock out anything. ARK made scorpions useless. Back in the day, you used to be able to knock out things with scorpions, so you could solo tame different dinosaurs, like the Quetzal. Wonderful. They must have been too OP. You know, much like the fire lion that sits on your shoulder for Ascended. Whatever. I gave up on the scorpion and took the Allosaurus down by hand and tamed it up. Next, I check off the Calicotherium. Then I get our last beaver. I settle on taming a low-level male Argy, and then I head home to do sorting. While sorting, I find a fabricated sniper rifle. Must have picked it up during a drop or an alpha. Now, it's time to prepare to get a Daedon, and the sniper rifle is going to come in handy. On the way, I picked up a Mastercraft mammoth saddle. I found a trapped pig and started to down her. As I was attacking it, a new pig tackled me from the side and stopped my taming. Their torpor bar drops so fast, and they hit like trucks. I do end up dropping one of the females, but the other is chasing my bird. While distracted, I drop the second female pig too. I head back to tame the third female pig, technically the first I was taming because she's level 140, and after dropping and taming her, I find another high level pig, but he decides to attack mammoths. He doesn't live to regret that decision, and I need mammoths, so I drop them and tame them instead, knocking mammoths off the list. On day 34, my next pig is attacking mammoths again, so I take it out with the sniper rifle. I tried to take out pigs on foot, but end up as lunch. This left my poor Petra in the snow biome all by himself. Thankfully, now I have two, and I can get back to him quickly. Upon getting back, I soul ball all of my Petras, and a pig comes to eat me again. In order to escape, I plunge into the water below. Once out of the water, I pull out Baron, just in time for the pig to try and bite us. I need a male, so I kill this female. Up the mountain, I loot a drop for a fur chest piece, which will come in handy since I'm running around in nothing but shoes. I continue my hunt for a male Daedon, only to come across and tame some wolves instead. Both are tamed, and my search for a male Daedon continues. Finally, I tame the male pig, and I take out a sniper rifle to face the one I don't need. The taming list takes me back to the redwoods where it meets the swamp to find a Diplocalus. These weird amphibians act as underwater gills as you're swimming. But you won't catch me kissing one for oxygen. I hit one and it flees, and I lost track of her, so I track a different one. I take that down, but I can't see because the trees are in my vision, so I meticulously knock down the vegetation until I can see better. While in the swamp, a female capro says hi, and I knock her out. I get off my mount and feed her, and accidentally drop Cheshire. As I try to pick him up, another capro attacks me and throws me to the ground. Baron is on passive, so I have to kill it myself. Then, as soon as I get close to my tame again, snakes come out of nowhere to eat it, and I have to kill them. Then I can finally feed her and tame her up. While I'm in her inventory, an annoying parasaur walks over me and moves me. Then another snake attacks me. Can everyone just go the heck away? I soulball the new capro and use a sniper on the snake. God, I hate the swamp. I resume taming the Diplocalus, knocking out and taming the male. Back into the redwoods, I take down a female dire bear, only to realize I knocked out a male again. I finally remember I need a female, and boy do I find one, a 150. She's fighting with her mate, a 130. They both come to fight me. I can't handle them both, and Baron is taking a lot of damage, and as I try to run away, I run straight into an alpha carno. And who follows me? Both of the stupid bears. And they die. And Baron and I almost die. I set off on foot again and go to try to tame a bear on foot, and it's the last thing I do on night 34. That's not gonna work. After dying to the bear, I logged off for the night. So the next day I log in, I notice that Cheshire is gone. I spend the entire day looking for him, and I couldn't quite remember where I left him, but I re-entered the redwoods and located my silly otter. Turns out the female bear I had tried taming was guarding him. Cheshire is rescued, and we book it home. The rest of the day is spent doing more sorting. Day 36, my goal is Ovis, and I realized I needed cake for that, but I needed sap for that. So to the redwoods I went. My struggle getting into the tree went like this.
So if I go like this, I can pull myself. I can pull myself up on the tree. Okay, I'm now dangling here. Now what do I do? Did I bring the tap? I did bring the tap. Oops. I did not mean to do that. Can I dangle next to it? And like, I need to like shoot up there. Okay, that's not gonna work. Hold on. I gotta get down again. How do I get up there? Like, how do I... Okay, I think I got it. I think I'm close enough to check. Maybe. Okay. Access inventory. Haha! I got a sap! So, this is literally what my life is right now. I have to wait for this thing to produce sap.
After a few trips, I get the cakes I need and head off to the snow biome. There, I encounter a few dead sheep the moment I was trying to tame them. They must taste amazing. The next sheep is finally downed, and now I need a female. I find one and it dies. Again, frustrated, I go find another one. The tracker, I track females, and then down one and tame one and realize it's a dude. So I track another female, down it and tame it, and realize, again, it's a dude! I have 3 male sheep, and I'm left very confused. I have to make yet another cake because I used them all taming dudes. Then I head back out to find a female sheep. I make sure this one is a girl, and then tame it and head back. After checking my other tames, I realized I needed a female bear still, so I returned back to the redwoods. My mounts are swapped as I take off to find a bear. It doesn't take long to find one. She's only level 100 and is sleeping soon after her encounter. With that, bears are marked off the list. Next on the list is hyenas. I've never tamed these guys before, so it took a bit of wiki reading to understand how to tame them. Apparently, you pet them if they're isolated. I snuck up on one with Geely and pet it into my party. All things considered, this is definitely one of the cutest ways to tame something. Just pet it into submission. Better than beating it into submission. After that, it was back to the harsher taming and into the snow biome. A female Megatherium was tamed and crossed those off the list. After taming giant creatures, it was time to tame the smallest among all the ARK dinos, the Microraptor. Again, like Optiopteryx, these guys find you before you find them. Thankfully, due to a mod, the dismount feature is disabled. Because of that, these guys are pretty easily crossed off. Another tame I got half done is the Titanosaurus, so that's my next goal. I have to head home first though to get the repellent, and then I head out to find it. She's super easy to find and is a level 150. So, wow on that one. Due to the level, tranking her took a bit of time, but she tamed up incredibly fast. While I was out there, a woolly rhino was found, downed, and tamed, crossing the rhinos off the list. Coming up next on the taming list is the Arthroplura. That means I need Broth of Enlightenment. To get that, I needed rhino horns. So some time was spent gathering some. On the way back home, I picked up an upgrade to my scuba stuff, but I decided against caves for the moment, and I went off to get our last Procoptodon. I find one close to home and tamed her fast. Once tamed, I head home, making a pit stop to get yet another scuba drop. Score? These would actually come in handy later for the dangerous water caves. Upon returning, I was greeted with some physical representation of what this game makes me feel sometimes. I had to clean it up manually because I had way too much fertilizer. After picking up the poop, I left to get Tapgeras. These guys are annoying because they won't land, and when it does land, it tames pretty fast. The second, however, I followed around for a while because I could not get it to land. It took me to the next morning early at 1 a.m. to find one that stopped flying around, and I was able to tame it up. Upon returning home, I find my house has been overtaken by a trike army. They're plotting their revenge. Land Before Time has come to claim my soul. Ignoring that, I prepare to go into caves. Fiber was gathered, broth, kibble, and antidotes were crafted, and then off to the caves. Due to my last adventure, the antidote was a must-have. After entering the cave, my first goal is eliminating creatures so I can get to the centipede. I actually hate that I have to tame this thing, but I do it. The female is tamed, and my god, is it terrifying. The next one is my next fear, the spiders. Like spiders, this one's kind of a jerk. I fed it, it turned around and bit me, so I had to book it. I don't know why it did that. After many more feedings, the spider was tamed, and I hate it. I hate how it moves. I hate how it looks. I hate it. The next Arthro was easy, and the next spider gave me the heebie-jeebies again. But that was the creepy crawlies done. The artifact was collected twice, and I booked it out of this creepy cave. The next cave is the one that killed me before, but I need bats. And I have antidote this time. After equipping the repellent, I enter the space of the bats, only to find out one of two things. They only eat mutton, and they only tame one-on-one, so I hightail it back and take my time taking out extra bats and creatures. Once distractions are eliminated, I pull the bat back and easily tame the male. The female, on the other hand, she takes a long time to pull. By the time I forget I need a female, I kill her. I end up taming a second male and curse to myself. Next time I'm adding genders to my chart because not only can I not tell the difference, I can't read. Attempting once more to get a female was annoying. Not only was she surrounded, so I took out those around her, but she also bit me, giving me mega rabies. How kind of her. Thankfully, I have an antidote this time, so after downing that, I tame her up and finally, the easy cave creatures are tamed. I continue in the cave getting a Megatherium saddle from a drop that will be used in the boss fights later. It is Ascendant. I then pick up 2 pack artifacts and I leave this cave. The next cave, something bad happens. I find a Megalosaurus, which is a very rare dinosaur, and he almost walks into the lava as I 2-tap knock him out. I almost fall into the lava attempting to tame him. Notice a pattern? We finally make it further in the cave, killing things on the way, and all around me are pillows of dangerous, hot lava. Falling into that is certain death. A bridge is crossed, careful not to slip. Yet more lava. Why am I not surprised? Everything in this place scares me. I know for a fact this is an incredibly bad idea, but I see a drop that I really want. Baron is put away to keep him safe, but I forgot about my little otter friend. I make sure I picked up the berry, knowing that I might die here, but Cheshire sits on my shoulders, begging me not to make this jump. He has zero faith in me, for good reason. I get across the lava and pick up the drop that I see. However, the travel back, things go dreadfully wrong. I will tell you, the only way I got Cheshire back is to return to the cave and go into Cheat God. I had to swim into the lava and pick him up from the bottom of the lava because he sunk to the bottom. Thankfully, because of passive protection, he was alive. I hate cheating, but I had no choice here and I was not gonna lose Cheshire. I got him back and decided I would come back here later. This place is scary, gave up on the artifact, and I flew to an easier one. This cave is the first cave a beginner would grab, so it's the easiest one. I did try to go swimming and regretted it as I could not jump out of the water, but thankfully, I finally got out. Wanting to explore another body of water, we jump into it, and my gosh, was it dark down here. Even after equipping scuba gear, it made no difference at all, so I left. At home, I decided I would take up the Plezzies. With the saddle equipped, I felt so small on its back. The journey starts off attacking small fry, but our plans are larger than this. An alpha shark, then an alpha lead Cictus. I didn't expect to 2-shot it. That got a small laugh out of me. So easily taking on the monsters of the ocean gave me a false sense of security. It will come back to bite me in the long run. We meet face to face with a giant alpha mosasaur. I sat there staring at it. It had 60,000 health, and I'm sure it does a lot of damage. It says it's tameable, so I try to throw some arrows at it, but that doesn't work. I asked chat what I should do, and someone tells me to go punch it in the face, and then donates to my stream. So that's exactly what I do.
I hate the ocean so much. Oh god, okay. Okay, I'll go do it. Oh, this is about to scare the piss out of me. Y'all are gonna hear me scream in a minute. Y'all are gonna hear I'm about to scream bloody murder. Come here! Come here! Come here! I need to punch you. You're running away from me. He's running away. Oh god, he's not running! He's not running! He's trying to eat me. Okay, I punched him in the face. He ran away. Oh god, that's terrifying. Okay, so I have figured out he does not take torpor damage. Oh my goodness. Oh hi. You're not scary. You're not scary. You're not the scary ones anymore. You don't scare me anymore. That guy scares me. You just missed me punching this guy in the face. We're gonna go do it again. Hi buddy. You wanna play? You wanna play? Hi, come here. Why are you running from me? Ow! He bit me that time. One bite does like 400 damage or something. Oh, well that was fun. We found an alpha mosa, which we're not prepared to take on yet. We need a mosa to take on a mosa. Where am I at?
Turns out, punching a mosa in the face is dangerous for your health, and I get a one-way trip back to the dark world on land. At least that somewhat helped with my fear of the water. After running quite a bit in flippers, I remember I have dinosaurs and throw Barry out to take us home. On the way back home, I drop and tame a male Spino. Back at home, I finally remember how to use the Gamma command and now go off in search of a female Spino. It doesn't take long to find one, and I knock her out in the water, and a stupid piranha eats her. Now I have to look for another one. It takes me to the morning of day 42 to find and down another female. Now, finally, the moment we have all been waiting for, Rexes. I run towards where the Rexes are and realize I left my Petra at home. So, after a brief stop back at the house for a Petra, it's off to the snow biome for a Rex. Two of them are hunting side by side, but the one I want is the 140 female. After dropping the torpor of the lower one, it runs away, leaving me just with the higher level. After a lot of running around, I drop her and she tames up with me standing up on her back. And that, citizens, that is what ARK is about. The Rex. What a tame. Now, I have to find a breeding male so that I can start taking on bosses. While on the prowl for a male, a drop is picked up. It lands me a nice Megatherium saddle. Megatheriums are good for the spider boss, which is a really nice find. Because of that, my goal changes to a high-level Megatherium instead of a Rex, for now. I find and knock out a 140 female. Unfortunately, I have to wait for a higher-level male as there are none spawned in. Late in the evening, my chat asks me where Karchar is. I don't know that, so I looked it up and went AFK for a little bit. When I come back, it's the next morning. My Rex is saddled, I name her Cinna, and then I test her out against the island's creatures. She is so slow. After leveling her speed, she's a bit more tolerable. While out on the Rex, a very low-level Bronto is spotted and tamed. More Rex carnage later, we happen upon a female Rex. Not as good a level as Cinna, but still nice boss fodder. She tames out at 157 and I pocket her. The tracker is used to search for more Rexes, and the best it can offer me is a 110. And unfortunately another female, but I drop and tame her as well. My focus switches to Titanosaurus, and holy moly, the tracker shows me a level 150 spawned in. You bet your pretty little fluff I go off and tame it immediately. Theories are smart, and it attempts to scale the cliff where I am standing shooting at it, but it fails. Soon, it's torpor running. However, even with high torpor, it turns around to fight me, slashing Baron with its claws. It actually does a lot of damage. It really can't decide if it wants to run or fight. Honestly, this dinosaur is mood. Finally, it makes up its mind and hightails it with Baron chasing it down. It runs straight off a cliff. Clever. I don't want to hurt Baron, so I attempt shooting at it from the cliff, and after several misses, I resume giving chase. Surprisingly, taking no fall damage as we close in on it. Round 2 of jumping off a cliff, I watch once more as it falls down to the road below. This, however, is a much higher fall, so I'm careful. I dismount Baron just as we hit the ground to minimize damage to Baron. However, doing this, I take all of the damage and break a couple of ankles. But that doesn't stop me. This 150 is going to be mine. One last hit and he's down. In a very awkward location too. It was difficult to get up to him, but once I did, he tamed out at a nice level of 224. What a chase. The theory brought me to the terminal, so I figured, why not check it out while I'm here? I placed down a few dinos and head home. I'm missing a couple of the elements to open the gate. Real life calls and day 44 rolls on through while I'm away from the computer. Upon returning, the decision is made to fight the first boss. I gather materials and head back. The first spider boss is supposed to be one of the easiest. However, with my random assortment of, 8 creatures, I definitely made it harder on myself than it should have been.
Let's go! Everybody follow me. Need Barry. And attack the spider! Go get her! You got this, right? Come on, get her. Get her. I think we got it. I think, maybe. Don't die! We got this! Come on! Oh god, my Rexes are bloody. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, we got this, we got this. We so got this. Yeah! Nice! Dude, they're at half health. All of my creatures are at half health. That was interesting. Ooh, boy.
We downed it. That unlocked a few tech items and gave us a spider head. After that adrenaline rush, I decided to go back to get a high-level Sarco, as I was told they're really good for caves. I find a 150 male, and just as I knock him out, a snake comes to say hi. I hate snakes, at least in ARK. I shoot it dead and my bird flies away. After getting her back, I tamed up the Sarco. I walked up to name him and he moves me with his snout, stopping me from getting closer. While in his inventory, another snake comes to say hi and all hell breaks loose as the AI on both dinos malfunctions incredibly. And they can't catch the snake. Finally, my bird kills it and they stop spazzing out. I named the Sarco 150M with intentions to breed it later for his super croc and then pocket him. And then a level 150 female Sarco is tracked, and I realize she's inside of a cave, so I head in to look for her. Expecting a simple cave since this is the starter one, I'm not paying too much attention. I find the getter I'm looking for. I lure her out of the water, and she follows me for a moment. Then she drops down into another section of water. What a pain! Now she's got friends. As I approach, attempting to lure her once more, the friends also come with her, and I am in a bad situation. Baron is taking hit after hit as we are pinned against the side of this small cliff. I attempt to knock out the other two while getting the 150 female, but this does not go to plan. Even though I force one of them to torpor run, the situation grows dire. Two snakes join the fight and Baron has less than 30% HP left. I am left with no choice but to kill the remaining crocs and book it away from the waterhole to avoid the snakes. That sucked. I kill everything else and then go to try to get the relic. However, more things come to kill me, so I just leave the cave dejected. Back at the house, a new plan is crafted on day 45. The chat wants me to get Karchar. That means I need sacrificial babies. What better than to make little Rexes? While our parents are getting it on, I'm acting like the typical American, playing with ammo. I also consider becoming a pirate and learning about harpoons. Meanwhile, I hear the sound of a successful one-night stand and the egg appears inside the soul terminal. I sit and wait for a bit and 4 of them appear in the terminal. The mom is picked up and then I grab the 4 eggs. After throwing 1 egg out, it instantly hatches, thanks to the soul terminal. The terminal incubates the eggs up to 99.9% incubation. So when you throw them out, it will insta-hatch. I do that with the remaining eggs and then take the hatched Rexes to the snow biome. Karchar, here we come. If you're not familiar, a Karchar is tamed by killing and eating your dinos. They like baby Rexes and Gigas most. That's what I read on the wiki at least. Attempting to actually tame it though was interesting. It required me to kill my baby and then drag its corpse to the dino. Definitely weird. Once close enough to the creature, it lifts its head to smell the corpse. Then it comes over to you and eats it from your hand. This allows a small taming timer where you ride the creature and eat lots of things. Don't let it take any damage because otherwise it will turn on you. It was actually easier than expected due to my taming speed settings, but what I wasn't expecting was for it to catapult me halfway across the map to my death the moment it tamed. I laughed about that one, spawning nearby to go pick him up. However, that required me finding him, which took a long time. I had to turn on the tracker. When I got back to him, he was fighting a Yuta, and I destroyed it. I pocketed him and then took off back home. Only 1 Karchar spawned on the map at a time so far, so while waiting for a new one to spawn, a new plan was hatched. I clearly didn't learn my lesson from the Allosauruses I had decided to take down with the scorpions, so I tried the scorpions again. It leads to nothing useful as it's confirmed on several creatures that the torpor sting has been nerfed to oblivion. My aggression is taken out on a nearby alpha, and I head home to pout and come up with a new plan. We then fly back to the snow biome, for no reason in particular, and I land to take a drop. I thought I took plenty of precautions, but it turns out that shooting an angry Yuta in the face is also hazardous for one's health, and its friends come to devour me. So, back to Quetzals. I attempt the scorpion, and yet again, it fails. They also no longer attack while being held. Why do ARK devs take out one of the best features? They always break what is not broken. After tabbing out and AFK for a moment, after tabbing back in, I drop the scorpion on accident into the water below, and hilariously, I have to drop into the piranha-infested water to soulball it while being chased by the fish. So, what plan are we on? Plan H at this point? The wiki talks about using a parachute, so back at home I craft one. Or 200? Who's counting? Oops. And then, I head back to the Quetz again. After dismounting from the bird, I forgot I had a parachute and fall to my death after pathetically trying to grapple to his body. I'm starting to feel like I really don't know what I'm doing. Take 2. I'm back at the Quets, and I retrieve my bird from the sky to try yet again. This time, after dismounting, I deploy the parachute successfully. Then, while falling gracefully, the grapple attaches to him. Now, with whistles, I can direct where he flies. This is kind of cool. With this trick, I am able to trinket down with ease. Bugs from the beginning of my playthrough come back to haunt me, but I make them pay for their family's trespasses against me, annihilating the entire second and third generation of their kind, allowing my RG to have a full meal before swapping to the Petra and flying back home. Back at home, I get distracted by the fact I have a giant dinosaur to look at, and I spawn him out next to a Rex. I spent the next 10 minutes grappling to the Karchar, having basically the most fun in my life about how absolutely monstrously massive this guy is. I'm also absolutely thrilled you can even do this. I wonder if it hurts. Day 47 is going to be used to grab our last Quets. Then I gather up some of the tames I don't have yet. That means we get our second dairy, which was much easier than the first despite being a 140, as it didn't have anywhere to run to. After taming it, I realized I had 2 males again. My pattern unbroken, of course, we had to tame a low-level female, marking them off the list. Next, the last Bronto for some reason I decided to get was a level 145, and it took quite a long time to knock out. Only after it was tamed, once again I realized I have 2 dudes. This has nothing to do with the fact that I may or may not ship K-pop idols. Do not judge me. Anyway, I tame a nearby female and knock them off my list. With that done, I head into the redwoods. A marsupial called a thylacoleo is perched on the tree. A single arrow drops it to the ground, and minutes later, the 145 kitty is now mine. Now to find her mate. The male is found nearby. Really cool looking gray 110. And soon, he also joined my team. But not before landing a couple of bleeding slaps to Baron. Back at home, I put away the Karchar as he's starting to get hungry and eating all of my food. And now, I need to figure out my next plan of action. There are only a few dinos left from my chart, and it is time to get serious. It's day 47, almost 48. I still have 2 bosses to beat, with 2 more difficulties on each boss and the main boss himself. On top of the fact I have to breed up a lot of Rexes and finish off all of the caves. Of course, naturally, when I'm in a hurry, I AFK for several hours because ADHD, executive dysfunction, means I get absolutely nothing done for hours because of distractions. I come back and played God for a little bit, spawning in randomized dinos of the ones we had left. Due to my spawn settings, it would take a real life 7 days for the Giga and the Karchar to respawn, and I am not waiting that long. During this time, I realized we lost Cheshire again, and I went hunting for him. I killed the stream and ended up finding him and turned his body into a spirit orb. Somehow, the Karchar killed him after killing me. His body was still there, so I was able to save him. And I also turned on a setting that would make it so shoulder mounts are invincible from now on. So that would stop us from having to hunt him down all the time because he would respawn with us after we died. I left the server on and AFK'd and lost an entire day of game footage due to being offline. Oops. So, when I return, it's day 49. My first plan of attack is to try to figure out how to tame Gigas. A Quetz saddle was settled on, but to make them, I needed silica pearls. So, after lots of gathering in the snow biome and a few run-ins with the sea life, my pockets are teeming with pearls, and I headed home to craft the saddle. Back at home, the wrong saddle is crafted, and now I need to gather more resources. I hate this game sometimes. So after gathering more metal, the saddle was crafted and put on the Quets. I added the S Plus add-on and I didn't like it, so I took that off. Next, I start thinking about how to tame a Mimosa. So the next few hours were spent farming up materials to make spear bolts, the underwater trank. After several hours in game are used gathering flint and stone, the rest of the tranks were crafted up, and it was time to go diving. My favorite thing. Thankfully, it was getting a lot easier to do, and I was slightly less scared now. Deep in the depths of the ocean, we happened upon another alpha mosa. I wasn't here for that though, but nearby to the alpha was a bazzy. That's what I was here for. After killing the mantas that stalked the creature, I hopped off of Baron and easily tamed the Basilosaurus for the series. After searching for hours in game for a second bazzy, I returned to the surface to catch a breath and relax for a bit. Back at home, the next plan is devised, which would be going after Electrophorus. The only creature capable of withstanding these attacks is a Basilosaurus, the thing we just tamed. So I saddle it up and head into the ocean once more. After looking around, it becomes clear to me Electrophoruses are nowhere near me at the moment, and I have pretty far to go to get one. So instead, on day 50, the Quetz is utilized to attempt shrinking out a Giga. This was no easy, or quick feet. Due to the speed that Torpor drops on the Giga, because he runs around with his head cut off, and the fact he ran into the ocean several times, it was hard. He couldn't decide if he wanted to be a fish, attack me, or run away. The hitbox on my Quetz also provided me some challenges as I kept hitting it in the face, or the butt, just as much as I was hitting the Giga. This is definitely my least favorite tame. By the way, stick around for a new video on my favorite to least favorite tames and another on my personal dino list. These will be coming in about a month if all things work out well. So another 100 darts later, and he was finally sleeping. I dread having to do this again for a female. While adventuring, I found a card char next to a Giga and headed back to grab a Rex egg. I hit the Giga hoping it would come alone, but it turns out that card chars and Gigas help each other. Thankfully, the card char goes off to eat some stuff and leaves me alone with the female Giga.
Where are you going? Can you bite me? No, you can't bite me. Oh, yes you can. Ow. You bit me. That hurt a little.
And here we go with another Giga. This tame was less pleasurable than a root canal. She got a couple bites in, and another 300 something tranks, she was down also, and tamed. Gigas are now crossed off, and there was only a couple tames left, including a female Karchar. That would have been a lot easier had I remembered to actually hatch the Rex at home, so when I get back to the mountain, I had to erect a sacrificial hatching ground. It gave me twins, and I dragged one of them to the Karchar. She was stuck and it was kind of cute. She came down to eat and let me mount her. We attacked things, she leveled up, and much like her mate, threw me to my death. I returned and picked her up, then headed back home. Now with those 4 complete, we had a few of the most annoying tames, and oh boy, when I tell you that I hate the ones that are upcoming, I am not kidding, but let's get to some of the final easy dinos. First, the Megalosaurus. I went nuts spawning in onion rings with teeth so that I could get my last tame. In typical euphoric fashion, I also tamed a second male, and I needed a female, but I didn't realize this and went off after a Mosa. It wasn't actually that hard to tame the Mosa. I expected it to be impossible, but it wasn't. It did take a lot of tranks though. Once she was tamed, I turned my attention to bosses. I wanted to saddle up all my boss tames and farmed up saddle material. All of day 52 was used to hatch several Rexes, and once grown, they were saddled up to prepare for bosses. I went to bed, accidentally leaving the server on, and came back to day 54. On day 54, all of our Rexes are finished and I saddled them up. After that, I went through all of the dinos I had in the bank and realized something important. We need a female Megalosaurus and a male Mosa, as well as a couple of other tames. Since we were about to do some boss runs, breeding the Megatherium was put on the radar for the moment. While they were breeding, I did some sorting and set up for the boss fights, putting together special armor sets and crafting new things. Once enough for Born, the ocean has called my name yet again, which is funny that I'm answering that call at all, but nonetheless, another Mosa is tracked and we head off to the snow biome. There are only a few tames left. The couple I missed, the Tuso, Titanosaur, and Ryanatha. And, of course, this male Mosa. While in the snow biome for the Mosa, I became distracted by the cave. This one is a manual cave. No creatures will fit inside except shoulder mounts. Going in solo was not on my to-do list, but needless to say, I managed it. Surrounded on all sides by icy crystals, spiders, and bats, the adventure inside was definitely interesting. I soon had to grapple my way across several ravines, and I found myself so close to the artifact that I could almost taste it, but I had to battle my way through the terrain and enemies. After winning the battle, I ultimately lost the war as my travel back ended me due to a glitchy technicality of the grapple. I re-entered the cave, grabbed a second artifact, and left. After leaving, I grabbed Baron and went for a swim. I head down to catch the male Mosa. On the way, we are attacked by electroforces, and I find out that the shock doesn't work on him either, and easily tame the eels that I need. I also got a really nice 140 shark and a 145 plezzy for a bit. I tame up the male Mosa I came for. I tracked a Leoplorodon, and on the way I tamed another Bazzy. I had to research how to take out the Leoplorodons, so I abandoned that because I needed honey. I went up to a new cave instead. This cave required me to kill a lot of stuff and then parachute down to get to the bottom. It wasn't hard. I collected 2 artifacts and left. As day 56 rolled around, I found myself looking for yet another elusive cave. This one was the swamp cave. This cave is said to be poisonous and you can't breathe inside it, so I should have brought a gas mask. It takes all morning to find it, and when I finally do, I go in. I put on the snorkel because I would rather have a little bit of vision than none. Inside, the chambers are filled with snakes and bugs. Did I mention bugs? I decided to come back as IRL, it's time to get off, and I left the cave, saved the world, and logged out. Upon return, we re-enter the crazy poison cave. lots more bugs, lots more snakes, and lots more spiders. But the Arthropleura is what's scaring me. Considering the fact that they break your armor if they hit you, that can spell disaster. This deep in the cave, if it breaks my scuba stuff, I could be dead. I was in this cave for an incredibly long time, and it was a bit of a nightmare, all things considered. I found something I needed, though. Megalanias. That is what I was here for. It fell from the ceiling, and I downed it and tamed it. Now, I needed a male. Fortunately, that would be in another cave. I headed in to pick up the artifact and left. We left the cave early on day 57. It took an entire day in there. I headed back to another cave to see if the Megalania was spawned there, and sure enough, there was one on the ceiling. Score, he was downed and tamed. Back at home, I grabbed honey and head out to get the Leopleurodon. I dismounted my tame and swam up to it, feeding the honey to it. Because this tame was not permanent, you can actually not tame it. It just lets you ride it for a little bit, and it gives you a buff. I went and took the rest of my honey to tame a second one, knocking them off the list. I flew back home once more and looked up how to tame the giant squid, the Titanosaurus. I tracked a turtle because to tank the squid, you use turtles, and I went to go tame it only to find out it spawned under the map. I cheated and went under the map so that I could tame it. Next, the squid was tracked and I went to go get it. She ate black pearls and would only eat while holding your mount. The turtle ended up being a waste of my time as she grabbed Baron instead, so while she nommed on Baron, I fed and tamed her. Now for a male, since I knew I didn't need the turtle, I put it away. On day 58, I wanted to gather the tames I missed, so I headed off to gather the first one, the Kintro. While out, I ran into a 145 Baryonyx. I planned on breeding her, but we didn't get around to it, unfortunately. Then I tamed the Oviraptors using Giga eggs, both the male and female. Remember how I said Gigas were my least favorite tame? Meet Ryanotha. Ryanotha. Meet Ryanotha. This guy does not work with protective passives, and it took me spawning in about 100 of them to figure out how it worked. Don't worry, we still did this legitly. So, in order to get this to work, you have to do one of two things. With perfect timing, by the way. You have to get your Rex to attack the Rhino down to a sliver of their health. Then, call them off from attacking and allow the Rhino to impregnate and therefore kill your dino. It only happens when the female is low on health. After an embarrassing amount of tries, I finally got it on day 59. I had to give it stuff while it hatched inside of my Rex, and finally it burst out. It killed my Rex and spawned out of his body. I decided on these being special tames that only require it being one off the list because I was not doing that again. On the afternoon of 59, I tamed a unicorn on Herbivore Island. I was about to leave when I saw a massive fish, so I killed it, dragged it, and it became an airplane floating up into the sky. After being entertained by a literal flying fish, I head home to get another dino finished off. These can only be tamed at night, the Troodon. This is another dino I've grown to hate taming. It requires you to let the Troodon finish off your tame getting the last hit. And it prefers big tames, like Rexes. So, yet another tame that takes me ages to figure out. Finally, I tame one. Now to get a second one. And after a few more failed attempts, finally I got the last Troodon. Then I tamed up 2 Utahs that were going to be used in the boss battles, and AFK'd again, coming back a few hours later. Day 61 was going to be spent grinding for a lot of materials. I needed cannonballs for the Titanosaur, so I'll save you the trouble of watching all that and skip forward. Day 62, we can finally craft up the cannonballs. I AFK once more to learn about how to tame the Titan, and what I learned made me want to entirely quit this challenge. What I found out was that the Titanosaur required cannonballs to be knocked out. What you didn't see was that cannons were crafted and mounted to the back of my quets. I attempted to shoot the Titan. What I learned, however, changed my entire view on this tame. It was going to take me about 500 cannonballs and 3 real-time hours to take out the Titan. On top of that, if the Titan roamed into the ocean, they can't swim and would immediately die. And you can't trap a Titan either. This was going to be the worst tame so far. Thankfully, I'm not the only survivor who doesn't like torturing themselves with the joy that is online play, and a solo tame mod was created specifically for us solo play wussies. It allowed us to craft a hand cannon, so Plan B was hatched. This would require us to get the hand cannon and cannonballs and fire them off the back of the rhino we just tamed. The new rocket launcher required polymer, so this allowed me to take out more of my anger on the stupid Hesperonychus I hated so much. At home, I got distracted by the rhino enjoying the little guy, making silly noises.
Freaking silly thing. This thing is so weird. What even is this? What even is you? It's like a cross between a lobster and I don't even know, man.
The rhino makes a weird spit in its inventory if it has sap to make it from, and that's used to freeze shot dinos with orange resin slime. So the next plan is to get a lot of sap. That goes interestingly.
Bro, it won't work. I don't even know what has happened here. I'm like stuck. I'm like glitched. Where did my Rhino go? I am legitimately stuck, and I don't know where Rhino went. Where'd Rhino go? There he is. Bro, what'd you do? You just like vanished. Oh my gosh, he goes sideways. He's like a freaking crab. Look at this. He like, he's like the only creature that can do this. This is incredible.
After the glitch fest that reminds me I'm playing ARK, my bug and I head back home to craft up the hand cannon. This gets us a few steps closer to the goals of beating the game and taming every creature. The Titan is our last dino, so it's incredibly hard. After crafting the cannonballs, I realized something. These are the wrong ones. I need the rocket cannonballs, and I have 53 of the regular ones. I swap out and give myself 53 modded ones, and then farm up and craft the rest I need. After tabbing out and reading a guide on taming the Titanosaur, and looking into the food it tames with, I'm left even more shocked. It doesn't take food, it takes the saddle. So I tabbed back in and looked up the recipe and wanted to quit. 1,600 cementing paste, 2,000 fiber, 4,000 hide, and 4,000 metal ingots. Time to go mine out the mountain. In typical ARK fashion, while farming, I get my dino trapped, and I can't get it out, so I have to let it get itself out. More farming, and more farming. After several in-game hours, I finally learned how to pick up the dino with the Rhino and Atha, and I realized that my Anki can attack metal while picked up by the Rhino. Score! That increases the speed I'm able to farm for metal. Soon after, my Rhino runs out of stamina, and it's also full on weight. Now, with more metal than the Golden Gate Bridge, we head back and fire it up. It takes another day to cook up all the metal we need. While the metal cooks, I get the fiber I need, and soon after, on day 64, we craft up the Titan saddle. The Titan is stomping around, crushing everything under his feet as I haul a large gun over my shoulder. After aiming and missing several times, a new plan is created. The bug I'm riding lands in front of the Titan, giving me perfect shot at its head. The shot connected and the creature reared up in anger. As if intelligent, knowing that its head was vulnerable, it hit its head in the mountainside. It continued to stomp around, breaking rocks and storming up to me. This made it easy to hit once more. Now it started to run away, looking back towards me. It quickly becomes apparent to me that it's running towards the ocean. So I go around in front of it, trying to stop it from going that way. I had to stop it multiple times as it attempted to go swimming. The spit from the bugs slowed it down, so after trying that, it was decided that that was actually the best way to do this. After freezing it in place, it was easy to shoot the Titan in the head, pausing between shots, of course. Soon, my weapon was completely broken, and now, I don't know if it will reset, but I have to head home and fix the cannon. After an emergency stop to repair the weapon and make several backups, the journey back was filled with anxiety. Did all the work I do on her reset? It took me a long time to craft and finish the new ones, but when I got back, I realized it didn't reset. That is an amazing feeling. Back at it now with a renewed vigor, the pattern repeats. Frozen in place with bug spit, and then smashed in the head with a cannonball. My worst nightmare comes true as the creature walks closer and closer to the water. Please don't. At the last moment, I get it to turn away. Rain starts to pummel the both of us, dripping off the Rhino's wings as each cannonball connects with the sides of the other creature's dome. Can we discuss how cruel this is? Cannonballs? To the head? I tried to get it to turn away, but it walked down the hill towards the ocean once more. My anxiety starts to peak. The blood pumping through my ears makes it hard to focus on chat, and I was so quiet. Now, with it on the beach, it made a beeline towards my base, and I had to lure it away. It was at about 50% knockout. I didn't want it to reset. I tried to get it to the swamp so that it wasn't close to the ocean, but every time I attacked it, it would just turn around in circles and go back to the ocean. What an annoying tame. I could not imagine trying to do this the vanilla way. After another hour in game, it's just about ready to knock out, and the final cannonball leaves it looking dead as it collapses on the ground in a knocked out position. I thought it was dead. But after walking up, I was able to access the inventory, place the saddle, and mount the beast. What a tame. And citizens, that's it. That's the first part of my challenge, 100% completed, all dinos tamed. Now, the next part of the challenge comes into play. First up, our underwater cave. We're all familiar by this point that I can't stand deep water, and that much is entirely true, even now. It did help a little bit that my fear is slightly lessened, but diving down here is still not on my to-do list. Unfortunately, to finish this challenge, I have to. Because I'm going to the water cave, my thought process is use all my high-level water dinos. That means my megalodons, my mosasaurs, plezzies, sarcos, my spino, you know, those guys. Logically, the mosa would be powerful, right? At least that's what I thought. After gathering materials for the different saddles, it was time. All the dinos were thrown out and saddled up. My ability to use a map is pretty poor, so due to this, it takes me a long time to find the cave. I can't navigate left from right, and now they're giving me 3D up and down and left and right. Finally, after locating the cave, I take a deep breath. This adventure would be the worst part of this entire Let's Play. The entry is slow, as my heart races. The pit is full of sharks, jellies, and eels. I didn't even realize it, but these guys are basically the mafia of the ocean. I was about to enter one of the hardest caves on the island. The creatures in here went up to level 320. They would be no match for my Mosa and the rest of my Dino Mafia though, right? First, I throw out my Mosa and send it to attack the enemies. Easy, no sweat. Just a few dinos are thrown out just to meet the rest. We slowly make our way through the cave. Easy so far. Too easy. The first warning sign should have been the bloody shark I picked up, but that didn't alarm me. Since megas were taking quite a bit of damage, I decided plezzies were the better plan. I threw out the sarco as well. Even further into the cave, we were just fine, and I started to relax, feeling on top of the world. I threw out my second mosa. I had a whole army with me in this cave. I ended up going the wrong way and leaving the cave. I should have taken this as a sign, but I didn't do that. After turning around, I go back into the cave, and I didn't realize some of my creatures were wandering all over the place, almost like they knew what was coming. Finally, after rounding them up, we went back into the cave once more, and I take the right turn this time. And then, all hell broke loose.
Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Does it go this way? Go on, get him. Here, move there, guys. No! My plezzy was killed. Can you get out of the way? My mosasaur was killed. What the fuck?
After losing my dinos, I should have left, but clearly I don't learn from my mistakes.
Well, that didn't work very well. My mosa was killed and my plezzies were killed.
I thought Baron could take it, but his health bar depleted quickly, and I had no choice but to dismount and pick him up. Then I realized I forgot my flippers, and I was slower than a snail on lava, and I perished to 100 or so megalodons. That could have definitely gone better. My hopes of beating that cave are dashed, as I realize I've hit a wall where Baron just couldn't fight his way through everything anymore. With regret weighing on me like a ton of bricks, I head home to hatch a new plan. The flight was silent, filled with anger. All of my high tames I tamed were gone. Some time passed and I re-entered the cave with renewed vigor. I attempted to tame one of the high-level megas in there, but it wasn't tameable. A thought struck me, and out came the Basilosaurus. Maybe I was discounting how amazing this creature is. Perhaps I needed to use it, so I did just that. Surely the Bazzy would be weaker than a Mosasaur though, right? I quickly ate my words, as the Bazzy was epic in this cave. Not only did they take almost no damage, they can't be shock stunned. And they also did a lot of damage. Not to mention, they were pretty fast. I had a new favorite water creature. With that, I re-entered the nasty part of the watery grave of my friends. Time to avenge their deaths. Our first run-in with the wildlife went really well. The Bazzy was quite epic, and I honestly should have used it sooner. After learning how incredible they were, I decided to throw out my second one, and now I was ready to take on this cave. With an anxious whistle, I sent my friends in to attack and sat back waiting to see if I would see a red message. I watched as creatures came in from all directions towards my Bazzies, also noticing only one Bazzy went in to attack as well. I headed back to grab my other friend, just as the donkeys came to ask me for my ID card to gain access to the party. We swiftly eliminated the bouncers, and to my surprise, with almost no damage on the bazzies. I was feeling confident we could complete this cave now. An entire army of new bouncers came to demand my entry pass, but my entourage of bazzies made short work of them. With my 2 blubber buddies, we continued through the cave, making much more progress than last time. We were able to explore, and it was huge. It took me a long time to get through it. I got lost several times, which has nothing to do with the fact that I just can't navigate at all. I do eventually find the artifact and exit the cave. I farmed it off stream several times for boss runs, as well as saddles. Upon exit, I find one of my fortune-telling plezies that ran away earlier. Back at home again, I breed Baron and Baroness to make babies. Those babies would go in with me into the cave this time. Shortly after breeding them, I was reminded about the higher level berry by my chat. Then, that was bred instead. Armed with these guys, we head back to the cave. I had better ideas this time. Because berries stunned while attacking, several of them stunning at once was a much better plan, and would be, except for one thing. I find out after killing a mosasaur that the following method I have is extremely flawed, because all my berries were all over the place and they would get in front of me, and they kept getting lost in every corner of the cave. So eventually I just gathered most of them up. By the time I was done cave crawling, we had only gotten 1 saddle. The whole point of going in was to get saddles for the boss fights. I even tried to get some drops from across the map, wasting a lot of time for it. Unfortunately, we would have to go with just basic saddles for the boss fights. I gave up on the saddles and went into the snow biome cave. For this, I tossed out the Utah. Because of the fur, they were more protected by the cold. On top of that, they were powerful. These took on the creatures with almost no issues, at least for now. In the cave, I did get some pretty decent drops, but I underestimated the difficulty of this cave because of my giant furry beasts. We were surrounded by ice islands, and between the islands were ponds of water. That water did damage over time because of how cold it was. If I fell in, it could kill me quickly, but my dinos thankfully aren't as fragile. I am shivering as we cross the ice islands. After the islands, we were stopped by crystals, and I had to break them down so we could get through. It was only a drop. Honestly, it wasn't really that good, so I didn't even pick it up. Past that, we entered a room full of creatures, absolutely filled to the brim. Polar bears, yetis, wolves, perlavias. While fighting, my Utah fell in the water, and I had to pick him up to get him out of it. I noticed that the water looked like it had drops in it, and I considered going in. I swapped my Utah out and pulled out Baron. Although, I didn't want to get Baron killed, so I just stood there looking at the water. I decided against going into the water. Even though there was something bound to be there, I just didn't trust it. I break more crystals, blocking our path, and we went down into a room with more creatures. I sent one Utah one way and went the other. By the time I got back to them, he was at half health. I picked him up and healed him, then continued along the path exploring the cold caverns. Yet again, there's more crystals for me to tear down so we can progress. We entered a room with a monkey statue, and that's exactly where I found the artifact. This was a pretty long cave, so much like the others, I did a lot of farming off stream. I started to leave the cave, but decided to use my berry instead of my Utah, quickly learning why I was using the Utah in the first place. The Utahs are heavy, and they can't be knocked back. The bears apparently have extremely heavy knockback, and suddenly, Baron was trapped against the wall in the water, and we were in trouble. I had no choice but to hop off, pick up Baron, and then get eaten alive by polar bears. Back at home on day 68, with the caves finished, it was time to fight bosses, so I did a little bit more farming off stream to get more artifacts, and then went for the bosses. The second boss, the monkey boss. This boss fight is annoying only because your creatures fall right off the edge. Most of them die falling off the bridge, than actually fighting the boss. I went slow to keep them from falling, leading the charge with my fluffy friend, the Utah. With the battle roar, we charge into the fight, and the roar boosting the rest of my dinos. This guy was actually incredibly easy. I came super prepared, and it didn't take much to take him out. Several tech engrams are unlocked, and it's over before it started. Next, the dragon. This place is hot and incredibly dangerous. The fire really burned a lot of my dinos and left us boiling. The environment was also incredibly hot and boiled me alive. The battle starts with a fireball slamming into my group. The Rexes retaliate by throwing themselves into the lava for some reason, so I have to call them all back. Then, minions come to attack us as the dragon plays hooky by flying above us, throwing fireballs every so often. Finally, the boss comes down to get his butt kicked. Unfortunately, this battle wrecks my dinos because the fire burns right through them, and as the dragon falls, so do most of my dinos. As we leave, the damage is evident. We spawn back out on the platform. My megatheriums are dripping in blood, and so are my Rexes. I went through and picked up the remaining dinos. Back in home, I raise up another army of dinos, knowing I can't take on the bosses past this anymore. I lost several saddles in the fight, so I have to recraft those as well. I went and got a 150 female theory to breed with my male as well. I was told veggie eaters are better against the dragon boss because they can eat cake. So I got a second 145 theory to take into battle with me, and I got a third. With these 3 female theories for the fight, I headed home. Armed with these guys, I went in to attack the boss again, but something went terribly wrong. I don't actually know what went wrong. I got hit on the back of the Utah and instantly died. I lost everyone. Every single one of my dinos in that instance was gone. This almost made me quit. I was just stripped of all my hard work for no reason. I pulled the chat. Everyone said it was a glitch and I should retrieve my dinos through admin. So we did just that. They were revived and we went to try again. The theories got absolutely destroyed. Then I attempted to finish the gamma dragon off by hand and it destroyed me. I decided to sign off for the night. Upon signing in for the next day, it was around noon on day 69. The plan today was to breed Daedons and try yet again with the bosses. I changed my settings slightly so I could imprint on the dinos, giving them a little bit more defense and health so they have a better chance of beating the dragon. I spent most of day 69 fixing settings so that I can imprint on the dinos, so almost the entire day was wasted. Once I got the settings right, I ended up with a mutation on one of my pigs. That pig was called Nightcrawler because he had blue on him, and I love X-Men. After breeding up a mess of boss pigs with over 100,000 health from levels, Therians were next. They would be good against the spider boss. After breeding them up for a little while, I switched to Theries, then to Rexes, or at least I tried to switch to Rexes. I didn't have a good male Rex. They were terrible levels, so I went out to find a 150 and I was not disappointed. Once the father was captured, I went home to breed an army. I played Dino Babysitter into day 72 and was given twins with a mutation in melee damage, which could be useful. I threw out every Rex I owned and took their saddles. Day 71 and 72 were spent breeding perfect bossing tames. If I wanted to take out the bosses, they needed to survive. I spent a lot of time making sure the dinos that I had high health and high melee. After a lot of ethically questionable breeding, I'm ready to take on the bosses. I spent the next 3 days cave crawling for more artifacts and drops. I also tried to get better saddles and failed miserably. I even tried spawning red drops just to see what would happen. I spawned about 200 of them. Not a single Rex saddle, Theory saddle, Yuta saddle, or Daedon saddle. So I gave up entirely on getting better saddles. Enough time wasted, it was time for the bosses now. The spider boss was easy for the first time, so we tried the higher one, and oh gosh, the alpha spider killed almost all of my megatheriums. I barely killed it myself. After losing almost all of my Rexes also, I figured these bosses needed more. After beating the spider, I set up a display for all the trophies. Now we have 1 beta dragon, 2 alphas left, the alpha monkey, and the alpha dragon. We tried again against the dragon now that my team was a little boosted. I ate some Callan soup to protect myself against the heat. I did end up killing the dragon this time. Now I was going to try the alphas. First, the monkey. I absolutely destroyed it. And the dragon? Easy. After slaying the beast, I stood atop its head smirking as I completed the last boss. Now you might think that's it, but there's one final boss left. The Overseer. Everything came down to this. It was all for this. And in typical ARK fashion, I lose more dinos to them falling in the lava. Congratulations, ARK, you win. I'll leave the next part live so you can watch the absolute hilarity of me attempting to get through this cave without losing my ever-loving mind.
Oh. 50 tames. You're actually joking me. There's no way that there's... What? What is this? What is this? What is this? Oh god. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Where am I at? What is happening? Okay, I'm on a Rex. Goodness gracious. Okay, go that way. Go eat him. You guys are everywhere. And please stop falling off every edge that exists. Gracious. Okay, don't get along. What are everybody doing? Why? Why exactly are you in the lava? Why? Can you move to somewhere that's not in the lava? Possibly? Can you do that? Goodness gracious, this is gonna be actually a nightmare. No, that Rex didn't last long. Now my Rex is stuck down there. That's great. You guys like to get up there? Oh my god, what are you doing? I need to put this one away, because otherwise he's gonna get destroyed. Hey, my dude. Stop this. My goodness, what is happening? Please stop going into lava. This is ridiculous. Look at this crap. Where are you going? Apparently dying. That's wonderful. That's fine. No, it's fine, guys. Don't worry. You don't need to stay on the fucking path. It's cool. What is happening? Why are they doing that? Alright. Can you, like, cut it out? Good lord. I need to somehow figure out what to do to stop y'all from committing hirikiri. I don't even think I have 90% of my Rexes anymore. They've all fallen in the lava. Like, look at that. Look, what are you guys doing? Can you, like, go somewhere useful, please? What in tarnation? Where are they all? Oh, they're just, you know, dying over here. That's fine. Oh, that's fine, guys. Yep, just take a dip in the hot pool of lava down there. It's fine, guys. Totally fine. What is going on? Go. Get off me. Go over there. This is actually, like, trying to, like, guide Dumb and Dumber. You need to stop doing things. Behavior. Ignore group whistles. Get the frick back here. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, look, see? They're dying in the lava. They're dying down there. Because they're dumb. Because they're stupidos. They're dying down there. I can't with any of you right now. Like, how did you even get down here? Y'all are just... You're special. You're just special. Well, now I'm gonna die in there. Morons. Ow, 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 ow. Ah. Where's my Yudi at? Yodi! And now you're in the water, or in the lava. Dumbasses! I'll fight this by myself, I guess! This is so dumb! Here, we'll do this by ourselves. We don't need, like, 80 Rexes. We're fine. Here, you... Oh god. Stop doing things. Stop doing everything right now. ARK knew that putting AI on dinosaurs that just fails is like the bane of all existence. Like, that's just... It's not even the bosses killing everything. It's the lava. It's the fact their AI is so dumb. They're just like, oh, look at this. I'm gonna fall off the ledge. Herder. Like, why? Why exactly? And where the hell are my other dudes at? I'm just gonna I don't even care. Okay. Where's all my other guys? Go and try to rescue my dudes. Well, there's one. For some reason, there's one right there. Oh my goodness. I don't call this fun, to be honest. Are those my Rexes? Okay, those are my Rexes. They're all my Rexes right there. You guys are the ones that lived, I guess. Where's my other Daedon? Okay, my Daedon's good. My UT, I don't know where my other UT went. Okay, I want to just put everybody away. Oh god. I don't know what is happening right now. What in the actual hell is happening? Can we not do this? Like, all y'all just get in my pocket, okay? Just get in my pocket. Just, thank you. I'm just over it. I'm over all of this. Absolutely over it. Here, give me your kryptonite. I'm gonna need that. Go up here. See if I can find it. Yep, there's another one. You're stuck in the wall. And like I said, the AI is pretty much the worst freaking enemy in here. I'm finishing this playthrough tonight. I just realized my fingers are like turning to ice. I'm sitting here in a freaking t-shirt and I'm like, why am I so cold? My chair just ate my pants. Hold on. I'd like my pants back, please. Why did my chair eat my pants? I rolled my chair over the bottom of my pants and it ate my pants. I always have wardrobe malfunctions when I'm streaming. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. We've got this. Oh god. Yeah, ARK knows that this is the worst. Like, it has absolutely zero to do. Has zero to do with the actual cave itself. It's mostly the AI and the turn radius on the dinos we choose to take in here. I hate lava. I hate it with a passion. Because all my creatures end up in lava for some damn reason. Can we not? Please, my dude, turn. Like, you're not even going as quickly as you possibly can. Just please. What is that? I don't know what that is. That is a long as I have their bodies, I can resurrect them. Oh, come on. Don't be stupid. There's no reason to do this. Morons. You're all morons. You're all literal morons. Go that way. At least there's no lava for you guys to fall into in here. Dumbasses. Can you stop? What are you doing? What is this? Why do you guys do this? What are you doing? Now you're stuck. Can you not do stupid stuff? Goodness gracious. I can't. Okay, I don't think falling in there is a good idea either, guys. Hello? Oh yeah, okay, just stand there, it's fine. Oh really, there's a freaking platform up here apparently. Where you, like, teleport into another place. And y'all just jumped up. Why are you so dumb? Get over here. Ouch. You're all stupid. You're all actually stupid. Alright, let's go see if I can find the rest of them. It's irritating. Because all they're doing is running off the edges. This is irritating. And I bet I need another friggin' something in here. Okay, is everybody out of the water down there? Okay. Everybody seems to be out of the water. So what is this? Ah, activate teleporter pad. Okay. So now I gotta put them back out again. Cool. Sounds fun. Whoa! What in... What is this? Is this a boss or not? Like, what is this? What is this? So many questions. Baron, I am confused. Help. What is all of this, my dude? Whoa! In God's name is that? Oh. What is happening? Oh, absolutely not. Now I have to deal with the boss. Somehow. Okay, attack it. Go after it. Okay. What in actual... I am fighting robots. Literal robots. What is this? And there's the friggin' Spider Queen person. And I'm stuck in the middle of everybody. Come on, guys. Can you do something, please? I don't have my Yudi. Because for some reason they, like, disappeared. Who's shooting me? Oh, you guys are shooting me. Why, though? Ow, ow, ow. Come on, get off me and go. Get off and go. Okay, that is obviously not what we attack. Oh, shit. Alright, I'm good. He wasn't doing very much damage to me. Okay, what is actually happening? I am so actually lost right now. There's so much happening right now. I'm so lost. Okay, now it's the dragon boss. Eat him! Ow, 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 ow. Oh! I defeated the overseer! What is that? What? What? Whoa! Wow.
Together, we may yet be able to save our world.
Wow. Holy crap.
Thank you so much for joining me, citizens. Unfortunately, ARK being ARK, it gave me an error, wouldn't let me get back into the boss room, completely corrupted my save, and really ended this playthrough on a way I didn't think it was going to. I wanted to ascend, but you know what? We beat the taming challenge, and we beat the game. See you later. Bye!